night, a guy that plays hard, a guy that's a leader in the locker room, a veteran, a champion. And to go away from him, and I haven't had a chance to ask Mike this, I wonder if he had a conversation with HB about his role, about what's going to happen, about his minutes, because it had to be hard to swallow. 12 minutes, like for your starter, Harrison Barnes. And so that was a change. And obviously the starting lineup change we saw Sunday in Memphis. And, I think we're going to have a segment on NBC Sports California later tonight on the pregame show about Chris Duarte, because Chris Duarte has been a lightning rod on social media. People want to kick Chris Duarte when he's down. They want to trade him and all this. And so we're going to have a segment that shows you exactly Chris Duarte's impact on this team, and it doesn't show up in the box score. Some of the little things that he does. And so, we had talked about Kevin Herter being taken out of the starting lineup, but the answer that we can't, everybody was saying Malik, or, nobody was saying put Chris Duarte. The fact that Mike Brown did that, I thought that was huge the other night.
Alex Lynn obviously has been hurt. He comes back, he plays well. But the thing that's impressive about Davion and Duarte, among other things, is that they haven't played. And then when they're called upon, it's like, all right, this is your chance. They were ready. That always impresses me when you see an NBA player, athlete at any level that's able to do that, because it's not easy.
Not easy. And especially, it's one thing to be out of the rotation to start the season. But in Davion's case, he was part of the rotation and he lost his spot. And he could have pouted. He could have been upset. But talking to the coaches and seeing Davion at work, he just kept working at it. We saw him out here a month ago, coming in early, getting in some extra reps. I saw him on the sidelines talking to Keon Ellis when Keon was in the game, pulling him to the side. Hey, you should try this and everything. So he's still been, a cheerleader on the bench. And now to get his opportunity, I thought he's been fantastic the last couple of games. And, that's what Mike Brown does too. Like we saw it last year with Alex Lynn, who was out of the rotation. And then the last 2-3 weeks of the season, all of a sudden he's playing. It's like, where did this guy come from? And so Mike Brown is the ultimate stay ready kind of coach.
Yeah. So right now, the guys on the outside of the rotation looking back in are Sasha and actually JaVale McGee a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think the rotation is pretty much set now. After what I saw in the second half against Atlanta and what I saw Sunday against Memphis, I think Alex Lynn deserves those minutes. Like Alex Lynn, when he's on the floor, good things happen. He doesn't hurt you. His defensive verticality, ability to challenge at the rim, his ability to finish as well. And so I think when you look at the rotation, it took a while. It took 30 games to get to this point, 31 games. But Mike Brown, I think, has settled on a rotation. And at this point, Sasha seems to be an odd man out.
Yep.
With that being said, we just said you got to stay ready because Mike Brown will turn to him, who knows, tonight or tomorrow night or something like that. But I think what we saw, especially defensively, Mike Brown is going to settle on this rotation.
Yeah, and speaking of opportunities, you look at the next 6 games for the Kings. Tonight, a Charlotte team that isn't very good and they played last night. Tomorrow night, an Orlando team that is pretty good, but they played tonight. You got Toronto, and then you got New Orleans coming in, and obviously the Kings got a score to settle with the Pelicans. Then you're at Detroit and you're at Charlotte. So things are softening up here a little bit as the new year begins, which means you got to take advantage of it.
Right. And that's the thing. We thought that against Portland, right? And then we get handed. But, this Charlotte team, second night of a back-to-back for them. They got handed to them by Denver yesterday. They're injured. No Gordon Hayward. No Terry Rozier. No LaMelo Ball. I mean, this is a severely shorthanded team. And because this is a first night of a back-to-back for you, hopefully you handle your business early. Don't tax yourself. Like, there's no excuse in this back-to-back. And I know Orlando's good, but they're playing the Warriors tonight. They got a tough matchup tonight. And so there's no excuse why, especially at home, it's a home back-to-back. You should be able to finally exercise those demons. And so I'm looking forward to tonight. I think, first game of 2024, back home, successful road trip. I think this crowd is going to be fired up,
Yes.
and I want to see how the guys come out early on against the Hornets tonight.
Speaking of fired up, Drapes Takes are next. We're right back with Drapes Takes after a very quick timeout from the Golden One Center to Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division title, GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, a breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam team, Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Get year-end pricing during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on our entire selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Ridgeline, Civics, and Accords. Plus, with low finance and lease options, now's the time to buy. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Folsom Lake Honda, or go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
It's a new year, and Good Guys Heating and Cooling has a new heating and air special. It's a 2023 equipment blowout with prices on complete heat and air systems starting at just $8,995. If you have a high quote from another company, call the Good Guys for a free second opinion on repairs and replacement. Don't trust the other guys until you've called the Good Guys. Save 30% on the cost of your home's heating and cooling with proper attic insulation. For a no-cost estimate, call 530-GOOD-AIR or check them out online at goodguysheatingcooling.com. Best service, best price, guaranteed. And that's no bull. License number 1057618.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Happy New Year. Great to hear everybody in the still in the holiday spirit, the spirit of the new year. You notice Jay, who's back with us, he hasn't said a thing to you yet about anything football related. How about that?
Jay's he's a classy Niners fan, right? And so he wouldn't do that. And so I appreciate that, Jay. Jay knows I'm in my feelings.
Right.
He knows I'm sad right now.
Yeah.
He knows I basically feel like the season is over for my Philadelphia Eagles. And so no need to kick me when I'm down. Unlike some of these people on the text line that have come in from 831, I have a hard time believing that Drapes wouldn't be kicking us Niners fans if we were the ones down. Would I do such a thing, Whitey?
I do remember you saying, if the 49ers lose to Washington, I'm going to be insufferable, end quote. I do remember that.
Did I say that?
Yes. Yeah, because I was going to ask you today, what's the opposite of insufferable? Because so you did say that. We say a lot of things here on the radio.
I did say that. Man, I got to take it. But like I said, Niners fans are a classy bunch.
Yes.
They wouldn't call in 916-339-1140. They wouldn't call in and give Drapes any
no,
any hate
of course
or
not.
anything like that.
No, of course
got
not.
love for you, man. We got love for you.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm ready for the season to be over with. This Eagles team is so disappointing. They are disgusting me right now. Like that game, and I was on the road, or I had Kings, I was driving and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, we're up 21-6. That's what I'm talking about. We handling our business. We're playing well. And then that second half, and I'm like, are you serious? And so at this moment, and Niners fans, take a page out of my book, A Little Humble Pie. This is how you should be. I'm disgusted by my team right now.
This is your opportunity. We give you the opportunity right now. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Renounce your affiliation with the Eagles. Jump on board right now. No questions asked.
Nah.
Jump on board. Become a full-fledged 49er fan.
Nah. I you know what?
This is your
I like
chance.
to support winners.
How about a supporter? I was going to say, how about a supporter? How about you support us?
Yeah. No.
Support the Niners the rest of the way.
You guys are like, that's like saying support the Cowboys.
No, it's not.
It's not happening, man.
No, it's not.
It's especially
not like that at all.
What do you mean?
Cowboys are in your own division.
We hate each other, the Niners. I know, but the hatred between Niners and Eagles is like Warriors, Kings. Like it's a new rivalry that's budding here. And so hopefully we see you guys in the playoffs. I will say this.
But have the Eagles ever beaten the 49ers in a big game? I don't know if you can call it a rivalry.
No, we just beat them in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Extenuating circumstances.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm disgusted with the Eagles. Niners look great. You know, you got a nice little road win. Kudos to you. But there's still some football to be played.
There is.
You know?
There is.
And ultimately, there's one team left standing. And if it's the Niners, I'll tip my cap.
Oh, Whitey, we might be getting to him. Now all of a sudden,
you'll get
6 weeks ago.
Out of me. Nice job. But until you win, my Eagles still have the bragging rights of the last Super Bowl between these two franchises.
Whitey, just think about this. 6 weeks ago, maybe even 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
Drapes he couldn't even foreshadow a 49er Super Bowl. Now I see a little bit. He's coming around that mountain when he comes.
He's like the little with a big crack in the middle.
Yes.
Hey, the Niners, man, they look like the best team in the NFC. I ain't gonna say NFL. I'm not giving you that. My boy Lamar Jackson got something to say about that. He came in and smacked y'all up. But in the NFC, you know what? All roads go through Santa Clara. They look good.
As you said, a lot of football left to be played. But right now, more importantly, it is time for the return of Drapes Takes.
Calm down, Lion. Calm down. Take it easy, man. Just take it easy.
And you know what, Whitey? I'm going to start right there. I'm going to talk directly to Sacramento Kings fans listening right now. Take it easy. Even if we lose tonight, even if we lose tomorrow, take it easy. To trade Harrison Barnes and the next day wanting to get rid of Chris Duarte. Let this play out a little more. I said earlier in the season, Whitey, give me 15 to 20 games. Well, it's taking Mike Brown 25 to 30 to settle on a rotation. And so take it easy, Sacramento Kings fans. I know we're seeing OG Anunoby go to New York. A lot of you wanted them here. The Kings are good. The Kings are fine right now. They're building. They're getting better. And guys are just now figuring out their roles. Like Chris Duarte been in and out. And I'm going to talk about him in a minute. But let's not all of a sudden want to blow up the roster, make these big trades and everything like that. The Kings at 19 and 12. 2 years ago, Whitey, we would have loved to be 19 and 12. We would have erected a statue of Mike Brown. 19 and 12.
Yes.
Think about it. Last week, 2 weeks ago, some people were actually questioning Mike Brown, the reigning coach of the year, the unanimous coach of the year. So Kings fans, take it easy. That's my first one. Take it easy.
I think Kings fans will get off the roller coaster if the Kings get off the defensive roller coaster. And what we saw the last, 6 quarters?
Yeah.
The Kings, when they're playing well, they play defense like Domas just plays, period, with a relentlessness. But if they keep that up, I think we'll all be off the roller coaster.
Yes.
But they better not lose tonight. You said no matter what happens tonight, got to back up to that.
All right.
They better not lose to this team.
Not to this team.
Okay.
You're right. My second Drapes take is this. Can we put some love on Chris Duarte? And here's the thing, Kings fans. I see some of you guys on social media. I see some of you guys on the text line, the 209. Remember when you guys let me have it for mentioning Chris Duarte? Chris Duarte is A-OK. He's fine. You know what Chris Duarte gives this Sacramento Kings team? The ball pressure, the energy, the effort. He's sort of the antagonist defensively on our team. That necessarily wasn't his role coming into the NBA, but don't be a prisoner of the box score, Kings fans. What Chris Duarte did the other night in Memphis, what he did in the second half against Atlanta, that's his role on our team. Now, if you want him to score 15 to 20 points, you're going to be mistaken. You're going to be sad. Chris Duarte is an energy guy. He makes the right plays. He's a defensive guy. So I don't want to hear no more nonsense. Oh, Duarte sucks. We need to get rid of him. The guy hasn't had an opportunity, and he's finally getting this chance, and he's showing it.
I said last week that for all the talk of Monk should start, Duarte's the one that to me was clear the coaches wanted him to play well enough to insert in the starting lineup. And now we're seeing it. By the way, and some of it may have been garbage time minutes, but Kevin Herter had a pretty decent game against the Grizzlies as well off the bench, which is a good sign.
And that's, I think he needs that to build up his confidence. You know, when he does come in, whether it's garbage time or whatever, he needs to see shots falling. I'm not giving up on Kevin Herter yet. in the rotation, maybe even a starter down the line. But he needs to develop his shot and get it back, because that's what he was in there for.
Right.
Help spread the floor. And when you're not hitting shots, Kevin Herter, what do we do? And so my last Drapes take, and I hope I see it tonight, is for Mike Brown. I said on the pregame show the other day on NBC Sports California, there needs to be consistency. And I felt like there needs to be consistency for Mike Brown also with his rotations. Don't be yanking guys in and out of a lineup. Don't be changing things up just to change things up. Don't be playing Davion one night and then go away from him for 5 games. Same thing with Chris Duarte. Settle on your rotation. Let it rock. Let's see how these guys are playing. And I think we're finally at that point right now. Sasha might be the guy on the outside looking in, but that doesn't mean he's done. But I think for this team, we need some continuity. We need some consistency, not just play on the court, but also in the rotations as well, so we can see what we have. I don't know what Sasha can do. I haven't seen enough of Sasha. I don't know fully what Chris Duarte can do. We haven't seen enough. So now is the time. My takeaway, now is the time, Mike Brown. Let's see what we have. Let guys rock a little bit, develop the rotation, and see what they can do.
One quick point on Davion. It was great to see him play so well. Back-to-back games where he didn't score a lot against Atlanta, but as you mentioned, he got the defensive crown of the game. For all the focus on his three-point shooting in the offseason, I know I talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
The last game, he was 4 for 4. He scored 8 points. He had 4 assists. He didn't take any three-pointers.
Right.
He didn't have to.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah, right.
I'd rather you take easy twos, create, and make them, and then miss threes. And let me give a bonus takeaway, Drapes take really quickly here. Has De'Aaron Fox turned into Steph Curry?
A little bit.
Has he? The dude's taking 9 threes a game. First of all, he's making them. I'm okay with that. But I was watching that Atlanta game. He took 16 3-pointers in that Atlanta game. 16 of his 20 shots were threes. And I'm like, maybe he should start going to the basket. Then I realized he shot 50%.
Mm-hmm.
We never say that to Steph Curry. Oh, you're taking too many threes. We don't say that to Clay. We don't say that, to some of the Dame Lillard. Oh, Dame, you're taking too many threes. So I think we're at the point now where we have to respect De'Aaron Fox and the work he's put in from 3-point range and let him have the green light from 3, because he's shooting 40%.
Yeah, he got some national love today in the Ringer, which we'll talk about.
Oh.
But the other thing is, I know it's cliche, but think about it. It's true in his case. As fast as he is, as hard as it is to keep him from getting to, say, the bottom of the circle, if he's making threes, how are you going to guard him, Drapes? You have to, send 2 guys at him and try to get the ball out of his hands. That's about all you can do.
Yes, and, it's sort of like I mentioned Steph Curry. Steph Curry's greatest value to that Warriors offense isn't his ability to make threes. It's his ability to draw the
gravity.
Yeah. Like all eyes are on him.
Mm-hmm.
You send it 2 and 3 guys at him. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And then he gives it, passes it, and then you're playing 3 and 2 on the backside. And so that's where De'Aaron Fox is trending towards. Can you imagine if you got to run 2 at De'Aaron Fox up top, and you got a guy like Domas at the foul line able to create when he catches the ball? And so I think the work that De'Aaron Fox put in with Luke Laux and Steph Curry this offseason, you're seeing it pay off. And, man, it is a joy to watch. He has the green light from 3 as far as I'm concerned.
Now, as far as OG, you mentioned the trade earlier. If that's all OG Anunoby costs, why didn't the Kings grab him? A look at that and what else is going on today in the trade market when we come back to the Golden One Center. It's the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
The new year is a great time for reflection, to appreciate all the good things in your life and to prepare your resolutions, or bucket list as I like to call it. 2024 would be the perfect time to introduce someone new to the game of golf. Let them in on the fun. Or if you've never played, it's a wonderful time to start. Maybe go to a driving range, maybe take an introductory lesson. Or if you're an established golfer, maybe you want to get fitted for a new set of golf clubs. Maybe you want to take some refresher lessons to sharpen up your game. Consider a golf getaway, either with your significant other or a group of buddies. It's a great way to play new courses, eat some tasty new foods, and certainly laugh a lot with your friends. If you normally use a golf cart, consider walking with a push cart, or maybe even lightening your bag and carrying your clubs. Go back and play where you played your first round of golf or your all-time favorite round. Remember why you play the game and how much it means to you. Leave the course in better condition than you found it. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
As we come together to celebrate the end of this long, long year, Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big old nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Bonnie Plumbing, Electric Heating and Air.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Knee, foot, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Kings playing their first game of the new year tonight, hosting the Charlotte Hornets, a team that's not very good and a team that is shorthanded and a team that played last night. So it should be a great way to ring in the new year. Let's face it, though, as much as we're all still caught up in we still feel a little bit of that holiday spirit hanging over. We're approaching what I know a lot of NBA people, Steve Kerr used to call the dog days of the season. Not there yet, but it's something to keep an eye on here as we get into January, February. But the next 6 games, the Kings have some real opportunities. So you're starting tonight with Charlotte.
Yeah, and it's so funny that we bring that up because our brains, Whitey, we're trained to feel that way. But I remember last year we had this similar conversation. Oh, yeah, we got Charlotte coming to town. We got Washington coming to town. We got this. And we lost those games. It was right around Christmas, too, the holiday season. And so hopefully as fans and media, we could say, yes, those are winnable games. But hopefully our guys aren't treating it like, oh, man, we got an easy one. This should be an easy one. Like Portland should have been a wake-up call. Because Portland, they were missing 2 of their studs. No DeAndre Ayton, no Shaedon Sharpe, and they laid the wood on us. And so when Charlotte comes to town tonight, you got guys looking to make a name for themselves. Guys who, are trying to, earn opportunities. Maybe not with Charlotte, but other teams in the league might be watching. And so I think this should be in terms of where the Kings are, a test. If they come out and handle their business, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this should not, on paper, be a close game. Charlotte's reeling. They've lost 7 in a row, I think, right now. They're reeling right now. They don't have the offensive firepower to match Sacramento, and so this should be sort of a tune-up for tomorrow. Like, all right, handle your business, and then you got a tough Orlando team tomorrow.
Do you think that's been an issue for this team, just kind of playing down to the level of some lesser teams this year?
And I've heard that mentioned behind closed doors as well. It's like, guys, we cannot play down to the level of the competition we face. we can get up for the Denvers of the world, the OKCs, even a Ja Morant and Memphis. But it's some of those other teams who don't have the star power that we sort of have an issue with. And so that's why I think tonight, this is a big game to show where the Kings are. I said, don't panic, Sacramento Kings fans. Take it easy, 19-12. They're good. They're fine. But this is a game, Charlotte, they're without a rudder right now. They are, I don't want to say in tank mode, but they're already looking at the offseason.
Yeah. Well, I heard Styles and Watkins today talking about the Kings and, how you typically have to be higher than a 5th seed to have a legitimate shot at a championship, although there have been teams like the Rockets that pointed out they won a championship. But to me, that's great. But to me, really, this year is still not that I'm not saying, well, you can't win a championship, but I still think this year ultimately is about winning a playoff series.
Yes, I think so. I think, the natural progression is, all right, back in the playoffs, hopefully a top 6, but you got to win that first round.
Yeah.
It's the natural evolution of it. And sure, you can win a championship, like you said, out of a top 4. And I would say, too, the NBA in terms of parity is the most wide open it's ever been.
Right.
I mean,
so a lot of those things don't apply.
Don't apply as much anymore. I mean, you could argue 6, 7, 8 teams are have a legitimate shot at winning a championship. And so I think ultimately, as we ride this roller coaster, Whitey, because that's what it's going to be. I know how we are.
You said to get off the roller coaster.
I said get off, but I don't know if I can even get off, because if we lose tonight and I'm on the post-game show, I don't need the stinking box score.
That won't happen.
I'm like the conductor of the roller coaster. I start this thing up. But ultimately, what matters, I think the Kings are at a point where, like you said, the postseason is what matters. If, let's say, you're the 5 seed, but you advance, that's a great season. That's a good season. Let's say you're the 2 seed, 3 seed, and lose in the first round, to me, that's a disappointing season. And so ultimately, same thing with the San Francisco 49ers. If I can make that comparison, the Niners ultimately will be judged by what they do in the playoffs. I think the Sacramento Kings are at that point now. We're not just excited and happy to make the playoffs again. We want to see some advancement now.
I've got a free programming idea for California Sportsnet, NBC Sportsnet California.
Yeah, what you got?
Free idea. Go ahead. You're great no matter what you do. There is sometimes when the team loses, sometimes in a way you're more entertaining. So what they should do is, like, for games like tonight, have an alternate broadcast in addition to the regular post game. This is what Kyle would have said. In addition to, so then you got all of it, and then you add up all the ratings. But
you know what though, you're 100% right about that though. Like the passion and energy and frustration comes out in a loss, and I'll take people behind the curtains. Sports talk radio. Same way.
Yeah.
When the team is losing, like if let's say, for instance, you lose tonight against Charlotte, fans will be so fired up and want to talk. And,
right.
If they win, it's like, you're supposed to do that.
What's the big deal? Nothing to see here.
Yeah, exactly. And so, no, I'm excited for tonight, man. This Charlotte team, they've actually lost 11 in a row. I said 7. They won 11, lost 11 in a row, and so
that's nothing this year compared to what some people
compared to Detroit, who we'll see next week. Yeah. So no, man, this is one of those games, man. They're coming off a back-to-back. They're shorthanded. No excuses today. No. Like let's go. Let's handle this. So.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. We know that the first big trade has been made. We also thought we knew that OG Anunoby. Well, he's going to cost maybe 3 number 1s. Going to be really expensive just to get him to a new team. Well, the Knicks got OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and a second rounder. Now that second rounder is via Detroit, so it's a pretty good second rounder. But I don't blame some fans for looking at that going, couldn't the Kings have given up that much? Could the Kings have given up that much? And are you disappointed they didn't get him?
Well, let's have that discussion. And I want to hear from Kings fans, 916-339-1140. Are you upset that the Kings didn't get OG? I would argue we didn't have that type of package to get OG, because when you look at what the Knicks gave up and what Toronto got,
Two good players.
They got two good young players. You know, R.J. Barrett's, 23? Emmanuel Quickly's 24, I think. And so who's our young assets? Like, our best assets, we talked about it last week, are our draft picks. But even those aren't as valuable as what they used to be.
Those two guys that they traded, the Knicks traded, they're not spare parts.
Right.
They were contributors.
They were contributors, people that are starters on this Raptors team and are going to be starters going forward. You know, people that they can build around. You know, you look at the timeline, like a Scotty Barnes, who's in his young 20s, RJ, Quickly. So who are our assets that we have? Keegan Murray. And we're not parting with Keegan. And so I would argue that, you know, when you look at what the Knicks gave up for OG and what the Raptors got, that was a pretty significant haul. In fact, there are some people who believe the Raptors got the better end of that deal because they got two young guys.
Yeah.
Quickly, I think, was runner-up to Sixth Man of the Year last year.
Especially if OG wasn't going to stay in Toronto.
Right.
He did really well.
And you got to, you know, factor that in as well. So are you really trying to give up your draft capital and some young assets for the hopes of signing OG? I know OG's good, but I think we might be overvaluing him.
It's hard to know for sure because teams obviously don't come out and have a press conference and tell you this is exactly what we think of this guy on this other team and this is what we'd give up to get him or this is why we don't want him. You never know for sure, but it does sound like, reading between the lines, that the Kings had interest in OG, but at some point, maybe in the offseason, they decided he wasn't a good fit or it wasn't a good trade for them. I'm guessing perhaps they got an indication that OG he's not likely to stay with you. I don't know. You could get him, but he's going to test the market. Maybe that was enough for them to feel like, you know what, it's really not worth bringing him in as a rental isn't worth it to us, no matter what we'd give up to get him.
And to that point, conversely, maybe he said, yes, New York is a place I would reside.
Right.
And so if you're the Knicks, you're willing to give up those assets. And so I wasn't too heartbroken when I saw OG go to New York. He's a nice player.
I was encouraged, Kyle, because they didn't have to give up 3 number ones to get him.
Yeah. But this is the question I ask you in a text. Has this set the bar now, let's say, for the market for what you trade, let's say, for a Pascal Siakam? Like, I feel like teams are looking for young assets and picks. We really don't have the young assets to give.
Not proven.
For instance, why would, and I'm just throwing a name out there, why would Toronto want Harrison Barnes at this stage of their rebuild? HB's 31 years old. They're looking for young players that they can keep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, Harrison Barnes would be best on a contender type team. You know, a couple of years ago when the Celtics were interested in him, it made sense. For a young team, and I understand he's a locker room guy. I understand, he's a leader in that way, but you're looking for young talent. Like if you're Toronto and you try to trade Pascal Siakam, what do we have that we could offer really for Pascal Siakam?
Honestly, you could probably offer, to your point, I'm not disagreeing with you. Davion's a good young player, hasn't found it yet, but he's got upside. Vezenkov is a good young player, hasn't found it yet. Well, he's not that young, but he's a new player. Yeah. That's all you could do. And then the team that would take those guys on would have to be assuming a lot of risk and uncertainty. And why would they do that if they're getting better offers?
Yeah, exactly. And people also got to understand RJ Barrett averaged 20 points per game. Emmanuel Quickly 15 points per game. So the Knicks traded 2 guys who averaged 35. Our guys we're talking about average what combined 10, and so it's a big difference. It's a big difference. And so I think that's where, we're stuck. We talked about it. Even a DeJounte Murray, as much as we both love DeJounte Murray and think that could be an answer, I don't even know if we have the assets for him. If you're Atlanta,
he didn't make you and I look very good in the second half of that game Friday either. I don't think he made a shot.
Yeah, I don't. That's
good first half.
First half, he was killing us. I was like, oh my gosh, Monty, give up whatever it takes to get this guy. He is lighting this up. But you're right. Second half, he was quiet. But no, I think that's the dilemma if you're Sacramento. You can't go for the big fish, so you may have to come down to that C-level tier, that tiny move, a Matisse Thybulle or somebody like that can help you out.
So who are considered the next 2 trade dominoes? Where will they fall? Could either of them come here? We've got that, plus another name that today is officially, unofficially available via trade when we come back to the Golden One Center to Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
And a handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Sactown Sports is home to the Kings, Niners, and now the business of sports. Hosted by Kelly Brothers and brought to you by Cap Trust, offering customized, independent financial advice at captrust.com. Join Kelly Brothers, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason as they look at the business of sports every Thursday at 7:40 a.m. You want to know how sports really work? Follow the money with Kelly Brothers from Cap Trust on Sactown Sports.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers, the No Surprise guys. We love that old song, Respect. You know, RESPECT.
It's a good song and a good business philosophy. At Bell Brothers, everything we do is designed to show respect for our customers.
We show up on time out of respect. Our technicians are clean-cut, friendly, and wear identification badges out of respect.
We do good deeds for free for our customers and leave their homes cleaner than we found them. That's right, out of respect.
So, if you want plumbing and AC service from a company that will show you some RESPECT, call Bell Brothers. We promise to respect your time, your home, and you.
Call Bell Brothers right now to schedule an $87 precision tune-up. Or call if you have plumbing problems. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive? Book your free T-check and free exam at Revive Men's Health Sacramento. Now also offering affordable, cutting-edge weight loss medications. Call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope, and they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team. Sactown Sports.
Happy New Year. Thanks for being with the Drive, guys, as we come to you from the Golden One, the Center, getting ready for the Kings and the Hornets tonight. You can also check us out on YouTube. Some of the comments here in the chat, Kyle, and people are off to a great start here in the comment section of the chat of YouTube. Chris Wright says, Barrett and Quickly are both so young and talented. Herder is our best, quote-unquote, young asset. Danny Hogger says, pretty excited to see if the Kings carry the heart, defense, and collective momentum from last game. And Emmy Nokolov, who's a big Sasha fan, Emmy says, not excited if Sasha's not playing. Wah, wah. Hang in there, Emmy.
No,
He'll get his chance, right?
It'll come back around to him. But right now, I just don't see it.
Nope.
Maybe this is the game, though. Charlotte, 11 losses in a row, bad team. This is sort of the Keon Ellis kind of game where at Houston you're getting blown out. Keon comes in, shows Mike Brown something, he earns some minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the night Sasha shows Mike Brown something and gets back in the rotation.
And then at some point here, as we said, we're looking at the dog days, but also that means the trade deadline approaching. OG Anunoby on his way to the Knicks, as you know. And now, according to, this would be according to Clutch Points sources, Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray, next NBA trade market, dominoes to fall. That might be overstating it a little bit. By the way, I also have a report from, I think it's Chad Lowe, who says, as far as he knows, the Cavs are not going to trade Donovan Mitchell. And again, that's just him going, well, that's the way it looks to me. No one's told me that.
Right.
But we never really, it was never confirmed that he was on the market. So,
right.
Yeah.
But, I think people are looking at the situation. First of all, you gave up a lot to get him. You gave up Laurie Markkinen, who turned into an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
And he's can be a free agent after this season. And so if you're Cleveland, do you have to have that conversation with him? Hey, are you going to come back? Are you going to re-sign? And if not, because you got to look at Cleveland and the small market that it is. It's not like they're attracting free agents left and right or anything like that. So, you look at Donovan Mitchell and you may be able to trade him. I don't know to who and for what, but I think that's something you have to explore, because you're a small market. The Knicks supposedly were interested, but now I'm hearing the reports that, after this trade, the Knicks aren't knocking down. Yeah. I saw that out somewhere. And so I don't know what you're going to do if you're Cleveland. Like I said, small market, you got a shot this year. Donovan Mitchell has them in a tough spot. Like you would hope as a GM of Cleveland that he would say, yes, I want to be here. I'm going to re-sign here. Then, that takes all that off the table.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Chris joins us now on Sactown Sports. Hey, Chris, Happy New Year. On with the Drive, guys. What's up?
Hey, Happy New Year to y'all. And I heard y'all talking earlier. I heard y'all talking a couple days ago about trade assets. And there's one person we cannot trade who I've heard people talk about. We cannot trade Kyler Murray. We cannot. He's too young. He's great on our team. He's part of our core. We already traded Tyrese Halliburton when he was good, even though we did get the bonus in the trade. Granted, it helped both of us. You can't trade Keegan Murray. You have to keep Keegan Murray and work it out elsewhere. But you have to keep Keegan Murray. You cannot trade Keegan Murray. That's all I want to say.
All right. First, he said you can't trade Kyler Murray, which is true because he's not even on
right,
your team.
Yeah. But what do you make of that? You can't, absolutely 100% cannot trade Keegan Murray.
I can't imagine the circumstances where you'd be looking at a trade where it'd be worth dealing him.
Right.
Because otherwise he's a fine young player that right now you have under club control for the foreseeable. He's doing everything you're asking him to do. How could you get something back that's worth more than that?
Right.
Given where the Kings are and the competitive spark, if you will.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I think the Kings see it the same way Chris does.
Yeah, I think so too. And the thing with Keegan is obviously he's getting better, and his best might not be for another 2 or 3 years. But whatever trade you make is for a win now, and that might only be a year or two.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray gives you sustained success. And
he's one of your building blocks.
Yeah. And he's only in year 2, And we had Jerry Reynolds on a couple last week or a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about Peja Stojakovic, his leap. You look at Peja's leap from year 2 to year 3, that's when he became a 20-point per game scorer. And so I think when you look at Keegan Murray, you've seen flashes. He just has to keep trending in that direction. And we think, obviously, he is. And, like last game against the Grizzlies, 26 minutes, 9 shot attempts. I need him to be the second option every night. And that's what I need him to get to. And so I think he's trending there. Like, I don't need to see games where he floats, he's not noticeable. Like, I think for the betterment of his long term and the betterment of this team's long term, I'm okay with living with some of the bumps and bruises that comes with shooting 15, 16, 7. Some nights that you might go 3 of 15, 4 of 16 or something. But I think he has to be that guy as he builds it, his confidence and into an all-star level player.
I agree with you 100%. But as far as specifically that game goes, anytime you score 123 and you win as comfortably as you did, I don't quibble with, well, he had 10. That's okay. Cause Malik had 27. I think he's going to be the type of player who's smart enough to know on some nights doesn't have to be my night. I agree with you that you want him to be one of your guys, but I think there's going to be nights when if other people are scoring, I don't think Keegan's going to go out there and, hey, I need to get mine. He's never going to be that.
I agree with you, but let me ask you this, because we're talking about Keegan Murray and where we want him to get to, where we want him to be. Are we okay with that with De'Aaron Fox also?
It's hard to imagine them scoring that many with him having a night like that, but in theory, yeah. I mean,
all the great players, most of the time, they're going to lead you in scoring. There's some, rare instances like last night, Denver. I think Jokic only had like 13 points or something like that. Light night for him. But I think I agree with you. If other guys are scoring, that's good for the team. But even last game, De'Aaron Fox still had 24 and still took 23 shots. He was still the man. And so, I don't know. When I look at Keegan, he took, and I know Herter played, some garbage time minutes. Herter took 9 shots. Keegan took 9. Barnes 8. Malik 13. I don't know. I'd like to see Keegan.
Yeah, I got you.
In that top 2 or 3 shot attempt range every game.
I want to say they had within the last couple of weeks, they had a game where they scored a lot of points and De'Aaron only had 14, but they didn't need them. But that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. And I'm not even entirely sure when that was. But how about this? Speaking of trade rumors, according once again to Clutch Points, the Wizards will explore Kyle Kuzma trade, his trade deadline market. That's a guy that a lot of Kings fans were interested in the offseason. Kyle Kuzma, if he's available, because the Wizards are 6-26.
Yeah.
So they're exploring options for a Kyle Kuzma trade. The Pacers could be the team to win the sweepstakes. Says
Pacers are going to do something.
Siegel.
The Pacers are going to be very active. And I think Kyle Kuzma would fit in perfectly with them. I don't think he fits in with us anymore. Like
I don't either.
I was sort of open to the idea during the offseason, but I'm like, nah, we're good. We don't need that kind of player. Guy like we just talked about would take shots away from Keegan Murray, in my opinion. But Indiana, they need another offensive wing player, a guy that can get buckets. And so I think they're going to make, a big move this trade deadline. And so as much as I like Kyle Kuzma, he just went off too the other night. Didn't he have like 40 or something, like 39 or something like that the other night? That's crazy though, because they just re-signed him.
Yeah.
It's a 4-year, $25 million each, I think it was. And so I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because in the offseason, there were a lot of Kings fans that were very interested in Kyle Kuzma. He's expected to be available for multiple first-round picks. He's averaging 23 points, 6.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists through the first quarter of the season. I suppose I could be talked into it, but I'm not in on him, and I doubt that the Kings are in on him. Although we know, was it a couple years ago, the Kings, was it once or maybe even twice they nearly acquired him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented player. Championship, got the bubble championship.
He was going to come here, but then for Buddy Hield, right? But then LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
And to get Westbrook instead.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And that negated the deal that would have brought Kuzma to Sacramento.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that deal. Yeah, you're right. He would have been here. If Kuzma's not the answer, what is the answer? Who is the guy? We said DeJounte Murray. But who's the lower guy? Who's the other guy that's a bench rotation guy that can help us out? I want to know that.
We'll find him.
All right.
We'll find him when we come back with your help. Also coming up while everybody else goes back to work after the holidays, 49ers are deciding how many people to rest this week. To Drive Guys at the Golden One Center, Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-775-5622. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-775-5622. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-775-5622. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Carmichael Dave here for Jiffy Lube, your proud sponsor of the Drive of the Game. Now listen to every Kings game for Gary Gerald's Drive of the Game call. Then listen to Jason and myself the next morning for a chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube certificate, courtesy of all the Jiffy Lube locations in the greater Sacramento area. Get your vehicle ready for the holiday driving season at Jiffy Lube today. Oil changes, wiper blades, tire rotations, and more. For more information, go to jiffylube.com.
California's largest sportsman's expo is back, January 18th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Bring the family and discover your next adventure. Buy the latest gear, find the best destinations, learn from the experts in fishing and hunting. On the weekend, visit the Giant Youth Fair. Free entry for youth 15 and under. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 18th through 21st at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't. Right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Knee, foot, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
First things first here, we want to make sure that we're accurate. It's the Drive Guys coming to you from the Golden One Center. We were just talking about the importance of Keegan scoring a lot. Does it matter how much he scores or how many points the team scores? And you asked me about De'Aaron Fox, and I threw something out about him and scored 14 points in the game where they scored a lot of points. That actually didn't happen. Okay, so De'Aaron Fox this year, Kings fans, keen Kings fans probably on this. In 2 games this year, he scored 14, exactly 14. One of those, they lost by 36 to New Orleans, and then the other one, they lost by 20 to the Clippers. So I don't know what game I was thinking of, but that hasn't actually happened. Okay, as we get ready, he did have 18 opening night, and they did pretty well.
Yeah, they did well there. Yeah. Okay.
We get ready for the Kings and Charlotte tonight. We were just talking about potential trade scenarios, and we were talking about Keegan Murray. Would you ever trade Keegan Murray? And I think you and I are pretty much in agreement that we probably would not trade him for anybody. Jay says he has a couple of names. He's going to test our resolve on a Keegan Murray. Jay, what do you got?
Yeah, I want to see how real you guys are locked into Keegan Murray.
Okay.
And mind you, with the understanding that both of you guys are King guys, obviously Drapes, you being a part of the organization. Yep. So I understand you have to hold steadfast. But I think what both of you guys are kind of saying is you're almost locked into Keegan in the fact of he is your young prize, and you need him to develop, if not the end of this year, of course, by next year. And you guys brought up the example of Pager from the great Jerry Reynolds. And I think with the Kings timeline, you really need Keegan to kind of lock in now, or at least by next year. But I say that to say this. What if he doesn't, meaning he doesn't take the necessary step to average 20 points or be the second scorer? Drapes, I think that's kind of what you're looking for, is him to kind of, overshadow Domas on the scoring end of what's going on. And so it got me thinking about a few things, because I think where the Kings timeline is this, fellas, and you correct me if I'm wrong and tell me where you feel before I throw these names out there. I think the Kings hits right now, Whitey, what you said, you're looking for a playoff series win. That's all fine and dandy. Yeah. After this year, let's just fast forward to next year. Let's just say the Kings go to the Western Conference Finals. I would imagine next year the pressure would be on to almost make the finals. Would you guys agree? Or repeat, get close?
Yeah. I mean, to at least be threatening to win the conference. So yeah, pretty much. Sure.
Okay.
Sure, that's fair.
So if that's the case, I'll throw a couple young guys out here. And of course, it takes two to tango. But one of the things you guys talked about with OG Anunoby trade is the young pieces plus the draft picks. So when I look around some of the teams, we don't know where they're going, but I look at the Pelicans. I don't know what's going on with Zion. I don't think they know what's going on with Zion. I think they're one step of either, taking the next step. They're kind of like the Kings, or one step away. If Zion doesn't work, they're going to crash it all down. So I throw Brandon Ingram out there. If Brandon Ingram is out there for you guys, and it's Keegan Murray plus a pick or two, are you guys interested?
Brandon Ingram, 26 years old.
26. He fits the timeline for sure.
26.
And at this point, Drapes, as I see you rub your chin like you're thinking about it, and got a little a sack of lunch there dropped off to you. Shouts out. Shouts out.
Selena it up. I was like, oh, yeah.
We know right now that he is more polished and a finished product than Keegan. Could we agree to that? Like, we know he's a step or two in front of Keegan. And this is just Jay talking. I don't think Keegan gets to where Brandon is, or I don't think he gets above where Brandon is. I think he gets to where Brandon is right now.
That's a tough one. Because I love Brandon Ingram.
Sure.
I love Brandon. I'm going to defer to you, Whitey. I don't want to touch this one.
Keegan Murray and 2 first-round picks. And you get a first-round pick back.
Yeah, I would not do that, and I agree with everything you're saying about Brandon Ingram. And I just think at this point, the Kings' future lies to a large degree in Keegan. I don't think they think about dealing him unless and until they get the idea, the notion, for whatever reason, that, as Drape says, he's not going to be what we thought. I don't think they think that. Hopefully they'll never think that.
True. Agree.
Unless and until they get to that point, I don't think they'd consider it. Ingram and 2 picks.
Okay, give me Ingram 1 pick. Ingram 1 pick and throw somebody else in there.
I mean, sure. Yeah. Brandon Ingram's a good player.
Jay, you coming up with some you stumping us here, man.
Okay, sit still. This is the second one. It's gonna be a little more controversial.
Yeah, let me just a little bit clean up on my end. The last one, with Ingram, with anybody, a big thing with the Kings is you bring anybody here, it's a big deal. Do they want to come here?
Agreed.
And I know we're talking about hypotheticals, but with the Kings, small market, that's always a big part of it because, you bring in a big name, he's not really happy here. That ain't going to work.
Okay, I'll give you that. I mean, I think Ingram's locked up for 2 more years, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll triple check on that. This one a little more controversial because this team's just not winning. You guys talked about the Pistons. What if Cade Cunningham comes knocking on your door? Keegan Murray and a pick, Cade Cunningham.
Me, I already got my point guard, though, as a thing, and I like Cade Cunningham.
But is Cade really a 1, though? Could you not see him as like a DeJounte Murray kicking over to a 2 for the Kings?
I do like Cade.
Yeah, I do too.
But here's the thing, Jay.
And you got control over Cade coming up because you got the Birds rights, the rookie rights.
You're just throwing names out.
No, I'm not. I'm not throwing names out there.
We're looking at
Detroit. There's no way Detroit does that.
Right? Will Detroit do that?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Okay, let's say
Cade Cunningham, dude.
Let's say they continue the drop into next year, and we have Keegan. And let's just say this: Keegan is at 16 points a game. End of next year, Kings lose Western Conference Finals. We're pushing up on 2 years in Domas, 2 years into De'Aaron Foxes, and now there's expectations. And we're going into year 4 of what's going on in Keegan. Now, look, we're playing the long game. I get that. Right. But I'm just saying there's gonna come a point in time. We're not there right now. I hope Keegan develops into what the Kings are looking for. But the way you guys are talking about it is if like they're strapped to Keegan no matter what. I think if you get to the point where, you're at the Western Conference Finals and you're trying to take that necessary step. So what? We're going to continue to allow Keegan to score 16, still kind of be ho-hum. And now you're 3 years in almost a De'Aaron and Domas's contract.
But that's you're projected in the future, Jay. And like, I think we're taking the view of we expect Keegan to be where Cade is, Ingram, that's the trajectory that I think Sacramento. Now, in 3 years, if he hasn't panned out or something like that.
Well, that's a year and a half, Drapes, not 3. Right, so it'll only be a year and a half. It'd be next year.
Well, he's got a 47-point game, right, on his resume already. I think if you look at the way this is drawn up, and we don't know, they don't actually literally have it drawn up. And I'm not saying they're right, Jay. I'm not saying never question the Kings. I'm just saying this is their plan. A lot of it hinges on Keegan. You look at this roster and how they plan to get from here to where they want to get to. A lot of that is based on Keegan continuing to improve. That's the plan. So for them, and maybe, again, I don't know if they're right or wrong, but for them to take to vary from that plan, something drastic would have to happen, or they're locked in to seeing if that comes to fruition.
Jay, and somebody on the text line brought this up, 916. They say, Jay, this scenario of the Western Conference Finals appearance this year, that would mean Keegan already developed and is scoring 20 every night going forward. So, to get to that point, we already need Keegan to be that guy.
See, I disagree. I mean, in the fact of this is just me. I think if the Kings would have beat the Warriors last year, I think they would have ran through the Lakers. Thought they would have been in the Western Conference Finals. I thought the matchup works very well for what they were bringing to the table. If the Kings would have made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, I think the trajectory and the timeline would definitely be on speed compared to what right now where Whitey is just saying, look, I just want a series. Just give me a series. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But I'm also saying then next year, where becomes the expectations on Keegan? If he does not take the necessary jump by trade deadline and he's still averaging 13, 14, 15 points, he hits 40 one night, then next night he's at 6, he's only shooting 9. At what point in time are you going to say, look, something drastic has to happen, and Keegan is that main point? Because other teams around the league are going to say, you know what? Maybe we got a little opportunity. We're Detroit. We could take a step back 2 more years, and Cade's there. Brandon's there. And that's why I say with the Pelicans, we just don't know. I just think there are, I believe both of you guys are at this point, especially you, Drapes. I think if there's an opportunity to get better at any point in time, minus Domas and De'Aaron, no one's off the table for me. Maybe Malik Monk. I might throw him in there because of the firepower. But if you're telling me Keegan is who he is right now, and you're offering maybe something down the road to where we can, swap a few things, I'm in the market. That's just me. I'm looking to get better.
Gotcha, Jay. Thanks. Oh, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back to the Golden One Center, as promised, we'll talk about the 49ers, that whole rest versus. Yeah.
Darn it.
You ready?
All right. Yeah.
You ready to go?
About that. Yeah. We can do that.
Kyle Shanahan, that whole rest versus rust thing. You know what? It's really not that complicated. We come right back with that from the Golden One on Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
This is Jeff Scott. Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
I started vaping my freshman year of high school, mostly because all my friends had vapes. I wanted to fit in with them and look cool and be a part of everything that they were doing. The hardest part about quitting for me was all my friends still hitting their vapes right next to me. It was really frustrating and confusing when I was trying to quit because in my head I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but for some reason my brain still wanted it.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
Back at the Golden One Center, it's the Drive guys, and tonight the Kings are taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Basically, it's an exhibition game, right? It's a glorified practice against the Charlotte Hornets. Short-handed.
They don't do anything.
Played last.
They're not a top 10 in anything, any category.
I have great respect for their point guard, who's played for many, many, many years. Do you know that he was very close to becoming an intern in the Denver Nuggets front office? And then the Charlotte Hornets said, "Hey, Ish Smith, you want to play one more season?" He's like, "Okay." Well, he's starting now. He's
starting for them, huh?
Yeah.
He's been on like 11 teams or something.
I think it's
crazy,
13.
like 13 now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But he's a bucket getter.
Yeah.
He's a guy, and I saw the
I'm sorry, I got you in the middle.
I'm like mid cookie.
What is Drapes eating over there, man?
Dude, oatmeal raisin cookies, they cannot wait, bro. You know,
I got
oatmeal, chocolate chip, I can wait. I can let it sit. For oatmeal raisin, I got to dive into those things.
Yeah, kick the chocolate chip under the table.
Yeah, chocolate chip, man. That's
with the broad Purdy
dry
juice, right?
Throat and everything. No, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. Who are we talking about? Ish Smith.
Yeah, just how Charlotte probably is not going to put up much of a resistance tonight. We'll see. It's the NBA. You never know, but this is one the Kings obviously got to get.
They got to get this one. Charlotte's second night of a back-to-back. I mentioned before, they're not in the top 10 in any category. They're 27th in points, 27th in rebounds, 19th in turnovers. You know, defensively, they're 30th, dead last defensive rating in the league. And so, yeah, they got to get this one.
I will be watching very closely PJ Washington. I don't know whether he's on the Kings' radar. I suspect he may not be, but I know he's on the radar of a lot of Kings fans, right? Like, ooh, PJ Washington.
Yeah. I think he had a big game against us a few years ago where he came in and had like 42 or something like that. And
he's talented.
We're talking about a 4,
yeah,
you know, that can shoot a little bit, a little toughness, a little rebounding. He'd be a good pickup for Sacramento.
Okay. And here's the thing, one more thing on Keegan, as we were just talking about Keegan and which trade him. To me, I think the Kings have to look at it to this point and say, yeah, he's had some nights where you'd like more from him, but I think he's on track. Don't you think, honestly, their assessment of him would be, you'd like to see him like 18 plus every night. He hasn't done that, but he's defending at a very high level. He's had a big offensive explosion. I think they probably feel like he's on track at this point.
I think so. I think, you know, obviously they wanted his shooting to start off a little better, but they were asking him to do so much defensively. He's at 36% from 3-point range. You know, he's averaging 15 points. Remember, last year it was 12. 12.7, I think it is. So he's made a little bit of leap. And I think, when you look at Keegan, and I have to remind myself of this, he was the 4th overall pick, but his system, his organization, his fit is a lot different than Paolo Banchero or other top 3, top 4. He's not being given the keys to the castle, if you will. And so I think, when you look at Keegan Murray and his fit, he's trending in the right direction. Now, if we didn't have Fox or Sabonis, he'd be taking 20 shots a game and, would be looking like.
If he was on Charlotte.
If he was on Charlotte, he'd be the man. Exactly. And get all those looks. I think, but I would like to see him, and I believe the coaching staff and the organization, and to Jay's point, mentioned it last segment, to be that second offensive option in terms of scoring.
Mm-hmm.
At worst, the third, and I can look it up right here real quick. Sacramento Kings stats, where does Keegan rank in terms of shot attempts on this team? Like, it should be top 3, right? Per game?
It might be 4th
should be
behind Malik, but it's got to be 3rd or 4th.
He's 3rd.
Okay.
Right behind Domas. Domas at 12.9, Keegan Murray 12.8. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd like it in the 14, 15 range, but, last year I think he was 5th. He was behind Kevin Herter.
Yeah.
Even. And Malik Monk last year. And so
there's progress.
There's progress. Exactly.
We will talk more Kings when Brendan Nunes joins us at the bottom of the hour. But right now, Drapes has been dying to talk about the 49ers, who have clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC. So now what do? Oh, you got a game this week. Well, you don't want to be too rusty because you've already earned a week off, but you don't want to risk injury. So here's Kyle Shanahan yesterday talking about that whole rest versus rust debate.
I think it can be tough, but it's also it's not just playing; it's how much you practice and everything too. And you got to make sure that you prepare for games by practicing. And we got a game this week on Sunday, and that's what you got. When you give guys the game off, practice changes too, and that can end up hurting guys a lot, and you end up just developing bad habits. And I've seen it cost a lot of teams. So, and it does give some guys a chance to get healthy. But when you do that and you sit people, then, you want to sit, some of the names you guys mentioned, but then other people got to double up and do a lot more because you only get 2 guys off a practice squad also. If you want to get more than 2 off practice squad, we got to cut people on our roster, and then we don't get those guys just to get those guys up. So it always can end up hurting, you rest players, and that sometimes gets more players injured. So that's all that stuff you got to balance out. And that's why it's there's not a clear-cut decision on anything. You got to look in each individual and each situation and play it out as the week goes.
Chris McCaffrey is a clear-cut decision. He has a calf strain, so he's not going to play this week against the Rams. Basically, what you've done here, if you're the 49ers, by gaining that extra week off now as a 1 seed, it's almost as if you've won a playoff game already because you get that bye.
You get that bye.
Yeah.
And what would you do, though, about this final game?
I would rest just everybody I could. As he said, you don't have enough people on the roster where you can sit down all your starters. But to me, it's pretty simple. And then if, you get 2 weeks off and then the playoff game starts and you start a little slow, I would rather do that than risk somebody getting hurt in a meaningless.
That's tough. That's tough, Whitey, because
to me, it's an easy
off, 3 weeks of not playing. And then first game back, playoff game, ramp it up.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be. I would, and we've seen this in other, maybe first quarter, maybe treat it like that.
Okay. I mean, yeah,
like
I could see that
with the.
But I wouldn't do it. But I see what you're saying.
I don't know. 3 weeks is a long time. If it was 2 weeks off, okay, a week, 3 weeks. I don't know, but then also you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and let's say you give them the rest and then they come out.
It is 2 weeks, right? Because you have the bye this week. Then, this week is the final game of the regular season. So if you give them the week off, that's 1 week. Then you have the bye, that's 2 weeks, and then you play the next week.
Yeah, 3 weeks in between games.
All right.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
3 weeks in between games from when you last played a game.
Right.
And so, if you do play them and somebody gets hurt, you shouldn't have played him.
Right.
If you don't and you come out flat, oh, see, they're flat. They should have been. You're damned if you do. I would be of the belief I would listen to the players.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, if Brock
Purdy
CMC or Brock, somebody said I need to rest.
Long. Yeah, or either way.
Long,
either way.
right.
Yeah,
one or the other. Yeah, I would listen to the players probably in this instance.
Yeah, CMC. By the way, remember we talked this year about our teams targeting him. I said they were. We disagreed on that. Whether they were or not, they definitely were. Because he had the ball so much, they were giving him a little extra curricular here and there. Here's a total amount of fines, dollar value for fines on Christian McCaffrey this year. You got face mask, illegal hit, face mask, unnecessary roughness, taunting, face mask, for a total. And by the way, there was one yesterday, so you can probably add to this. To this point, $97,401 worth of fines on players for illegal hits on Christian McCaffrey. So they're lucky it's just a calf strain that's keeping him out right now.
What are you saying, Whitey? What are we saying?
I'm saying that it's football, and teams are trying to hurt him. It's pro football, and the 49ers
He's not getting hurt on
ran
face
him
mask.
into the ground.
Like last night, this past week, the face mask penalty was a nickel and dimer.
Okay,
it wasn't even that bad.
You don't think you can get hurt on a face mask?
I'm just saying. You're taking just because he got penalized. There's different severity levels of the face mask.
Right. If you just graze the guy's face mask, they're not going to fine you $10,927. We got one $8,000 face mask, $10,000.
Now the illegal hit, the
$10,000.
$18,000. Okay,
yeah,
the illegal hit, I give you that. Unnecessary roughness,
$16,391.
Hey, Christian McCaffrey, I'm not going to baby this dude. Ooh, he could have got hurt this season. Do we have the full list of fines handed out like other players? It's football. You just said it. It's football.
I know.
Should we put this dude in bubble wrap and hope he
You're misunderstanding
me.
And by the way, that's kind of a weak one. Taunting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you got to remove taunting. Can you at least remove taunting from your total?
Well, you got fined for it. I think actually no, because I think the face mask from yesterday is going to be 10,000.
Oh, that's going to be.
Look, what I'm saying is the 49ers knew this was happening. Players are smart. Hey, Kyle Draper says that's their MVP. If we can take him out of the game, we have a better chance of winning. That's the way it works. Right. I'm just saying the 49ers are fortunate that that's all that Christian McCaffrey has through all that this year with what teams are trying to do to him. He has a calf strain. They're fortunate. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Well,
I know how football works, pro football.
Right.
Oh, obviously they're trying to hurt him.
Yeah. You're trying to knock him out the game, get him out of here. And I don't think he's going to play this week, right?
Right.
You got to sit CMC this week with the calf. That's something you don't want to mess with, obviously. So he'll have a few weeks off, and so kudos to them. I didn't think they looked good early this past week against.
You're right.
But as we've seen the Niners throughout this season, once they get going and once that train gets moving, it's hard to turn them off, hard to stop them. And we saw that this past weekend.
We'll take a timeout from the Purdy talk. I think we can get back to it if you want after Brendan comes on. So we'll see.
Yeah, we can. No, I'm all tapped out. I remember I said I'm not going to talk about Brock Purdy the rest of the season. I'm done talking about Brock
Purdy. Brendan Nunes, our Sactown Sports Kings insider, with a look at the trade market, how the Kings might fit into all that when we return to the Golden One Center. It's Kyle Draper, Whitey Gleason, the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Awesome. Hey, babe, can you check the front door? My package is here.
Yeah, on it. Hey, are we still watching our show tonight?
New episode on Prime? You bet. That reminds me, let's hit Whole Foods this afternoon. We need snack supplies.
From package deliveries to entertainment and even fresh groceries, Amazon is in front of thousands of customers every single day. Learn how you can leverage their reach for your business. Text digital to 916-766-5105 now. Make the smart move. Text digital to 916-766-5105.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big ol' nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85, or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Bonnie Plumbing, Electric Heating and Air.
Welcome the new year with EB Stone, your go-to for indoor gardening success. In 2024, enrich your indoor oasis with EB Stone's Indoor Potting Mix, our best premium blend crafted for vibrant growth. Explore our comprehensive range from soil amendments to fertilizers and find everything your indoor garden craves. Nurture new beginnings, cultivate lush landscapes, and witness your dreams unfold. Cheers to a green and thriving new year with EB Stone, the heartbeat of your indoor garden success. Find a location near you for our products and tips at ebstone.org.
It's no secret to golf enthusiasts that Timber Creek and Sierra Pines in Roseville are one of the region's most unique and scenic places to enjoy a great game of golf. 27 holes, boundless options. Elevate your game on our newly renovated driving range, putting green, and chipping area. Whether you're aiming for fun, lower scores, or all-around growth, we've got you covered. Experience golfing dreams in Roseville and book your tee time at timbercreekgc.com. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines, your ultimate golf haven.
It's my favorite time of the year. Folsom Lake Ford's year-end sell-a-thon with the low finance rates, special year-end savings, and zero down deals with approved credit. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters for over 30 years.
Get your retirement savings to play ball with your retirement plan. Call Cap Trust today at 916-924-7527 or log on to captrust.com.
The Drive Guys, live and local, every afternoon, Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Kings and the Hornets tonight at the Golden One. Drive Guys with you. As we mentioned, PJ Washington will be performing for the Charlotte Hornets. PJ's one of the guys that Brendan mentioned in his break piece last week, Drapes.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy to keep an eye on?
Guy to keep an eye on.
Okay.
I think he may have come up with, one of those hypothetical deals. Nice enough to join us, our Sactown Kings insider from SactownSports.com. It is Brendan Nunes. Brendan, you going to be keeping a close eye on PJ Washington tonight? Potential future King?
Hey, check it out a little bit. Always good to keep tabs on different guys around the league. Just kind of theory crafting a little bit.
Yeah, you had, there's about 3 players you mentioned in that piece, right?
There was, yes. It was Dorian Finney-Smith, Alex Caruso, and then I threw PJ Washington in there as well. Kind of just coming up with some different hypotheticals. A lot of, I kind of went with the base of, if you believe that De'Aaron Fox is an MVP caliber player or MVP ballot caliber player, good enough to be the number 1 on a championship team. If you believe Domantas Sabonis is fine to be your number 2 and that Keegan Murray has all-star potential, then maybe you just need to look at improving these surrounding pieces. Like 3 years ago, Denver's starting Will Barton or Gary Harris and Paul Millsap, and those guys sound pretty similar to me to Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes, so maybe you need to look at some upgrades on those other spots if that's how you feel about those core 3.
What do you think as we watch PJ Washington tonight? He's coming off the bench now, only scored 6 points, I think. Like, is he falling out of favor, you think? And, I'm of the belief if I'm Sacramento, I'm looking for that guy who maybe on the fringe of a rotation or not the number 1 or number 2, but with a bigger role can really do something. Does PJ fit into that category?
I think PJ is a guy, that you would sell yourself on. He could be better in this system, right? That he's coming off the bench right now, and maybe it could be a slow transition. You work him up to being comfortable with this and getting the most out of him, while Harrison Barnes maybe slowly transitions out just due to age, or maybe you want to go Kevin Huerter and you feel fine with Keegan Murray starting at that 2 spot. He's defending a bunch of guards out there. So PJ, definitely a down year. As you mentioned, like since Miles Bridges came back, he's not really starting in too many games. We'll see what happens tonight, given that they have a handful of injuries, Charlotte, that is. But definitely a down year for him. It would be selling yourself on the idea that this current coaching staff, this culture, is able to get the most out of a player that I think has the potential still to be pretty solid on both sides of the ball as a play finisher and sort of connector.
Brendan Nunes with us here, our Kings insider. Brendan, what did you make of the OG trade? What did you make of how much the Knicks gave up to get him, and what does that mean for the Kings potentially in the market going forward?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think that if Toronto was looking for more players than picks, that it's tough for Sacramento to get in that conversation when it comes to OG, right? Like Emmanuel Quickley is probably the most sought after guy in that, and RJ Barrett matching salary, but definitely not just an afterthought. He's got some remaining potential there as well. But for the Kings, like who's the young guys that you would send out? It's after Keegan Murray, which seems to be off the table and certainly not on the table for a guy like OG. That'd have to be a crazy star in my mind. If he's getting into some conversations, then who after are you really thinking about as, this is a young guy up and coming, got some good value around the league? It's hard. You could look at a Davion or something like that's not on the same level as an Emmanuel Quickley or even an RJ Barrett. So I do think that second round pick is maybe getting overlooked a little bit. It is Detroit's second rounder. It's a 31st probably, so that's not nothing. But I think that it's just another example of like a lot of what Sacramento has to offer in my mind, outside of these matching salaries, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, that do have some value within themselves, obviously, is first round picks. So it's how our team's going to value future firsts.
Brendan Nunes joining us, our Sactown Sports 1140 Kings insider. Brendan, what did you make of Mike Brown's decision not only to take Kevin Huerter out of the starting lineup, but that he turned to Chris Duarte in that starting role?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a couple times, whether it be like KZ Okpala starting last year, him looking for maybe a defensive guy to slot into that. A lot of times you see teams with one guy that maybe isn't the most ideal offensive fit, but all the others can carry the slack there, and he can provide something defensively. And even beyond just that starting lineup, you look at Davion Mitchell getting more burn in these last couple games. Like, it seems like coach was really looking for defense. Obviously, that performance they had in Portland is not the way they want to go. Even that first half in Atlanta was really bad, but then they totally turned it on in that second half, and then the entire way in that last game that they played as well. So I think that it's just a search for some defense. Duarte may seem like an odd choice because he was on the outside looking in, but if you go with that, it leaves your bench primarily the same. Kevin Huerter slots into that a little bit, obviously, but I think that what he can provide out there defensively and then just fill the role while the other guys, again, carry the primary load offensively makes a lot of sense. And he played pretty well, I thought.
Brendan, did this team miss Alex Len maybe more than we realized they did?
I missed Alex Len. I'll tell you that. I think that his backline defense and just the size that he has good verticality. I know he got in some foul trouble a bit in that last game, but I think having that backline of defense is really important. It allows those guys like Chris Duarte, Davion Mitchell, and obviously Keegan De'Aaron, all these other guys fall into that, to be more aggressive on the perimeter, knowing that you have that behind you. So I do think that Alex provides a lot for this team. I'd be surprised if he wasn't still part of that rotation tonight. Obviously, you do still have JaVale sitting there as an option, but having a little bit of flexibility in that backup spot, I think, is pretty important. Like we saw Len playing big minutes in the postseason last year. I think that he is an important part of this team, and it's definitely good to have him back. And being full strength is a rare thing throughout the course of this season, so it's good to see.
Brendan, when I look at these last couple of games, specifically last 6 quarters, I feel like Mike Brown may have reached a point where he settled into a rotation. Do you feel that? And if so, what does that mean for our guy Sasha? Because he's out of the rotation right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that could be the case. I think he still probably will play with it a bit. Like, Keon didn't do anything necessarily to lose his spot, I don't think. He wasn't great in that Portland game, I will say, but you could make that case, obviously, for a large majority of the players out there defensively. So I do think that he's potentially settling in. It helps that Trey Lyles looks like he's getting his rhythm back after missing a large majority the beginning of the year. And I do kind of think that Trey and Sasha are a bit repetitive in a way. Like, they do have some differences, but positionally, the minutes where those guys were playing alongside each other with another big, that's a tough defensive lineup to make work. So if the focus right now is let's keep this defensive pressure improvement that they've had recently rolling, it probably does make sense for Sasha to be on the outside looking in. But, coach will always point back to Manu Ginobili not playing much when he first came over, and that there's an adjustment for Sasha here as well. So I don't think it means the end for Sasha, but it could mean a little break here.
Catching up with Brendan Nunes, our Kings insider. Brendan, how distraught were you in the first half of that Atlanta game, and what did you make of the comeback? What do you think happened at halftime?
Yeah, I mean, we know how coach talks, so I'm assuming that there was some fiery conversations that potentially happened at that halftime. But also there's a internal leadership that I think that he's been calling for. And I think that we've seen that a bit recently. Like Malik Monk, he really complimented after that last win that they had in Memphis for, whether that be coaching up Davion or talking to Duarte for being out of the rotation for a while and now getting a shot again, something he can relate to. Or it seems like De'Aaron is really stepping up that end of the floor throughout the course of this season. So to hold that team to 39 points in a half is a phenomenal performance, especially being able to bounce back after, to your point, 71 in that first half, I believe it was. So a great bounce back. And I think that internal leadership, whether that be by example or vocally, is showing a little bit in these last couple games. But we've seen little stretches. I don't think we've seen it to this extent, that second half in Atlanta and that game in Memphis, obviously, but we've seen these glimpses before. It's just about, can you keep it up from this point?
Brendan, when you look at De'Aaron Fox, we had that Atlanta game where 16 of his 20 shots were 3-pointers. And naturally, I the instincts kicked in where I wanted to say, dude, you got to start taking it to the basket. But then he hit 50% of those. He's shooting 40%. Is this the new De'Aaron Fox where, he turns into Dame Lillard, Steph Curry? Like, is the three his most potent weapon that we're going to see going forward?
Man, it all goes together, obviously. But, like, this is the new De'Aaron, it feels like. I don't know at what point can I officially say he's an elite shooter? But so far this year, he's been an elite shooter. Yeah. And sometimes guys have outlier years, but like we saw progress last year in the mid-range. And I think that's just taking a couple steps back. And he's pulling it from deep sometimes, guys. Like, he looks confident. He practices this every day with Luke Laux and that range being included. I think it's legit. And a lot of it's off the bounce. He's confident. I asked him earlier in the year, like, what's sort of the shot balance for you with all these threes coming in? And he pretty much said, like, I just take a shot when I'm open, no matter where that is on the floor. And I think that that's the point that we're at. Threes are obviously worth more than twos. And if he feels good about it, I'm at the point where I feel good about it too. So it was definitely jarring to see him only take 4 twos on a night that he took 20 field goal attempts. Right. But like you said, Kyle, he knocked half of them down. I can't really be mad about it.
Before we let you go, Brendan, how would you guard him if you were on defense right now against De'Aaron Fox? What's Brendan's defensive strategy?
Just foul the crap out of him. That's all I got. Right? That's all I got.
Just use
my 6 fouls. Yeah. And then maybe like fake an injury, call for a sub. Try not to get myself embarrassed out here.
All right, Brendan. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, for great Kings coverage, of course. Sactownsports.com and Brendan Nunes. All right, when we come back, Kyle, which way do you want to go? Drapes option here. We can talk about Brock Purdy, or we can talk about the end of that Dallas-Detroit game. Which way do you want to go?
Well, let's talk Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Nice. How about that?
The kindness of your heart.
How about that? Yeah, I think we can all agree there's one thing people have been saying about Brock that we can't say anymore. And I think we can all agree on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. We'll find out when we come right back to the Golden One Center, the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
California's largest sportsman's expo is back, January 18th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Find the best selection of boats, side-by-sides, campers, and accessories, all at special prices. And get to your next adventure in style. See Toyota's all-new Tacoma. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 18th through 21st at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave asking you, are you feeling the pain of paying more and more for your gas? PG&E has increased their rates 4 times in the last 5 years, and the new forecast says PG&E customers may see their bills increase 32% by 2026. The good thing is there are steps you can take to protect yourself from these rate hikes, and better yet, American Energy may be able to help you completely eliminate your gas bill with a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. Did you know SMUD offers huge rebates to eliminate your old gas guzzler? They can help you guide through the whole process. Seriously, listen to me. You go to the SMUD website. There's tons of rebates available, but it is confusing on how to do it. Listen to these rebates. $2,500 from American Energy, $3,500 from SMUD, $1,000 from Caltech, $2,000 home system upgrades. That's $9,000 in rebates. Let American Energy help you out at 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive? Revive Men's Health Sacramento can help you address the root causes of weight gain, low energy, poor drive, and performance issues. And since your testosterone level has a direct impact on your weight and fitness, we'll give you a free T-check and free exam at Revive Sacramento. Imagine upping your game, losing weight, and getting in shape all at once. Revive can help you make it happen with our new cutting-edge weight loss medications, like your favorite athletes and celebrities use. They're affordable and available now. Weight gain and low T are treatable conditions. We know we can help you. Take that first step and book today. You're only one step away from getting in the best shape of your life. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
49ers, number 1 seed in the NFC. We'll get back to the Niners and the Brock Purdy conversation in just a moment. First, Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper coming to you from the Golden One Center, where the Kings take on, of course, the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Couple comments here on the YouTube chat. Cole G says the Kings definitely need to make the Hornets say uncle by halftime. Crush them early. If the Kings do that, then they grew from the Portland loss. And we also have Talented Tin saying firing squad got to show up. Kings are known for letting these games slip up, Kyle.
They are, especially these home games, against bad teams. We thought we cured that this season. They've been much better, but that plagued them last season. And to Cole G's point, the thing about this Hornets team, and I do believe Terry Rozier is going to play. He's probable right now. Guys get confidence, and that's what been the Kings' problem. It's like they come out first quarter, it's like they're playing a glorified scrimmage rec game. They're letting guys get off, get their shots going, shots start falling. Then it's hard to turn them off. And so, Cole, I agree, man. Like, get up 20 early in this game. Let's have a party early. Let's not be on the edge of our seats in the fourth quarter against these Charlotte Hornets.
You know what I really liked about the Memphis game, and I don't know if this is something that you do against every team, so I'm not saying they need to do it more, but they do it judiciously, and it's very effective. Both Mike Brown mentioned it after the game, and Taylor Jenkins also acknowledged it. The Kings are really good at times at throwing traps at people out on the open floor. They had success with it against Memphis. I don't know if you remember earlier in the year against the Warriors, had a comeback that I think came up just short, but they had success. Trapping late. And when you get Domas out there, you know, you get a guy that big and that long, and he's pretty good at it. So it's a nice, you know, thing that, like I say, you can't do it all the time. NBA teams are too good, but they've had a lot of success throwing that at teams, and it was something that really gave their defense an edge against the Grizzlies.
No, and that's some defensive versatility that you want to see, you know. It's not all about, you know, guarding your yard. Sometimes it's scheming too. Like, all right, we're going to switch it up, catch these guys off guard. You know who does a great job at that? I think Miami and Eric Spoelstra. They do a fantastic job of switching their defenses and keep you guessing. And so I don't know if we need that tonight against this Hornets team, obviously. But that was a big factor, I thought, on Sunday.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? You obviously you watch a ton of NBA games. You'll be watching two teams, and then all of a sudden one team, Kings have done this, they'll start playing zone. And the other team looks like they've never seen a zone in their lives, just for a few possessions. You know, these guys played basketball their whole lives. They've been seeing zones since they were in the third grade, right? But you see NBA teams like, what do we do?
What's the play for this, coach? You know? And so, no, you're right about that. And, you know,
if you can steal a couple possessions that way.
Right. Or if you're the Utah Jazz, you play zone all game and just get picked apart every game, you know? Although they've been on a tear as of late. But, just that versatility. That's where coaching comes in. You know, it isn't all just scripted game plan. This is what we're going to do. You adjust during the game sometimes.
So, Kings and the Hornets tonight. By the way, De'Aaron Fox got a lot of national love today. We'll be looking at that coming up here. But right now it's time to talk about the all-time single-season passing yardage record holder for the San Francisco 49ers. Of all the quarterbacks they've ever had, no one has thrown for more yards in a single season than Brock Purdy. How about that?
Kudos. Good for him. What, you want me to give him more than that? Right. I mean, you know, he's had a fantastic season, MVP level kind of season. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't either. I mean, I'll agree with you on that. That's probably not going to happen.
And let me ask you this, because when I look at Brock Purdy, I think, and I'm going game by game, in today's NFL, give me an outstanding passing yard number in one game.
In one game?
300? Is it
300 is pretty solid. Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games for Brock Purdy, 300 or more yards.
That's good.
Is it?
Yeah. When your team is running the ball effectively and you're winning by a large margin, you don't want to throw the ball. He's thrown for more yards this season than any 49 quarterback ever in a single season. So I don't know where you're going there.
No, because where I'm going is he should, in today's pass-happy NFL, the game has changed so much. Yes, he should throw for, you know, more than Joe Montana did, more than Steve Young did, because those guys had running back, you know, like the NFL is different now, you know, and CMC, heck of a job. He's done a heck of a job, but you throw more now.
So you're saying every quarterback in the NFL this year should set their team's single season yardage record. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying,
no matter who you are, if you're any good, you should set your team's single season.
Not at all. That's not at all what I'm saying, because when you look at historically San Francisco's quarterbacks over the last 20 years, let's say, since the offenses have opened up and there's been more throwing, more passing, the Niners haven't had a great quarterback play over the last 20 years. And so, no, kudos. I'm not trying to knock Brock Purdy or anything. I'm just trying to.
You just said he's only had 5.
I'm putting it in context. It's not like he's Warren Moon or something like that.
Which is,
it's not like he's Warren Moon or throwing for 400 yards a game. I mean, you know, you look at Brock Purdy's game-by-game numbers, like 230 against Washington. That's like pedestrian. Let's not get excited about that.
If they were losing, he would have thrown for more yards. That's
255.
Derek Carr throws for 300 yards in games because they don't need him to throw for more yards. Here's what I wanted to get to.
All right.
I think we can agree on this. I'm not sure, but even obviously we disagree on how good Brock Purdy is.
Yes.
I think the label game manager, I don't think you can say that about him. And you can disagree about how good he is. You know, the whole talk of, is he Brady? Is he Montana? Of course he's not. I understand that. But Tom Brady, excuse me, not Tom Brady, but Brock Purdy. I get the two confused all the time.
Right,
Pardon me.
I'm sure.
Yesterday, he completed all 5 of his attempts that were 15 or more air yards for 112 yards and a touchdown. Every time he threw the ball more than 15 yards or more, he completed it. He had the play, the touchdown to Ayuk, where he rolled out of the pocket,
that was
sprinted out to the right,
that was
pointed for Ayuk to find the open spot and hit him. So that was a great play. So I understand, you know, apologies to Cam Newton. I was a big Cam fan when he was on my fantasy team. Say what you will about Brock Purdy, but game manager, I just don't think it's true. I think it's factually not correct. Because game managers game managers are blink, dink, dunk.
No, see, but
that's a game manager.
But when you look at, and I do believe Cam Newton, his definition of a game manager is different than ours, I think. When I hear game manager, yes, I'm with you. I think, you know what? Just don't mess it up.
Yeah.
You know, just don't mess. And I think Brock Purdy actually makes plays, you know. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think his definition and our definition are different. Now, where would I put Brock Purdy rank him in the league? Remember, we had the rankings earlier. I think he was ranked 23rd by somebody. Is he a top 10 quarterback if you were drafting right now? Like, out of all the starting quarterbacks in the league, where are we taking Brock Purdy right now?
I think he'd definitely be top 10. I don't think there's any question. Now, I haven't run it down, but if you use a top 5, I don't know. Top 10? Oh, yeah. I think he'd definitely be top 10. You don't think so?
I don't.
Let's
do it. Let's have a talk. Let's have a conversation.
Uh-huh.
I think he'd be top. I think there's a lot of bad quarterback play
Yes.
in the NFL right now.
Yes.
And so, yes. All right. Mahomes, I would have ahead of him. I would have Lamar Jackson ahead of him. I would have me. Now, this is me.
Uh-huh.
This is me. Now, it's my list.
Here comes
Not
the shot.
Already number
It's
3, and there's
yeah,
already
yeah.
some
Here comes the
questions.
shot.
We only had number 3 in
And
this
I'm just
question.
going down
Ready to
this
throw a
list.
flag.
I would have Dak Prescott ahead of him.
You could make. I would not, but I understand why you might.
I might even have Tua Tagovailoa ahead of him.
Yeah, I would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have Josh Allen ahead of him.
Okay.
All right. Okay. There we go.
Uh-huh. I might not.
Dennis again.
You're having a hard time.
Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Strictly talent. You put Trevor Lawrence in
No,
this system.
I'm not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I definitely would take Jalen Hurts. He's having a down year. I understand it. But give me Jalen Hurts. That's not an argument.
You can have him.
All right.
I think you're going to get him because no one else.
Where we at, Jay? How many?
You
I'm
might
at
be able to
9
trade
yet?
down and still get Jalen.
I'm at
You're
9
at
yet?
7.
And you're leaking oil.
Joe Burrow. What? A healthy Joe Burrow? What?
Well, I'm just thinking about it.
Oh, my gosh, Jay.
Yeah, I probably would take Joe Burrow.
You're killing me,
might.
Whitey.
Yeah.
You're killing me.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm not going to just need your.
That's 8 Drapes.
Yeah. Is
Justin
it really
Herbert?
8? I mean, I didn't agree with all of
Justin
it.
Herbert?
Justin Herbert's really good. I think I would take Brock Purdy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's 9. Who you got? You got to put that 10 out there, Drapes.
No, hold on. Slow down, big fella. Let me recalculate here.
Yep.
Dang, he might be
You
in
going to
the
go
top
Fields?
9.
You going to go?
Nah, I can't go Fields. Who's the Raiders? No, I can't do that.
Yeah, the Raiders.
You going Kirk Cousins?
Golf? Nah,
Kirk Cousins, golf.
All right, so that's about
CJ
it.
Stroud.
Nah, and I like CJ, but that's where Brock Purdy. What I got him 9?
You got him 10.
I got him 10. All right,
You don't want to throw Gardner Minshew in there?
Matt Stafford. Right.
Pickett. Let me see who else. Oh, you know
Bailey
who I
Zapp.
forgot?
Who else you got?
You know who I forgot?
Who's that?
Joe Flacco.
No,
I'm Jay over there. losing
Deshaun
his
Watson?
mind back there.
You got
He's
Watson?
losing it. Where my boy Geno Smith at? Give me No. All right, so he's a top 10 quarterback. Yes.
Okay.
Brock Purdy.
You asked the question and you
Right.
answered.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're in agreement for
Yeah.
once.
All right. Yeah. But honestly, the game manager thing, again, you can say, I don't think he's that good. Understand that. But I don't think you can say game manager.
Yeah. You know what? You know who was a game manager? Trent Dilfer. That he was a game manager. Brock Purdy is better than that.
I think so.
I agree
He's
with
more,
you.
he's
You know,
able to
because
do more.
you know what Brock Purdy does, and we saw it the other day. When things break down in the pocket, he can extend plays to an extent. He's no Lamar or anything like that. But you mentioned that touchdown throw to Ayuk, where he ran out. I mean,
He made
was
a play.
bottled up. He made a play. And so he's not some big statue that's just standing there, like you said, like a robotic quarterback, just, dumping it off. He makes plays. And so we agree on that.
I
He's
think
not a game manager.
here's your 10, and he's not there. It's Aaron Rodgers, right?
Oh, a healthy Aaron Rodgers. There you go.
Aaron Rodgers, by the way, not going to the playoffs. Joe Flacco and Jordan Love are going to the playoffs. How about that?
How about that?
How
right?
about that? All right. When we come back to the Golden One, tell you how the Kings look different from their last game at the Golden One Center. To Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Can the Niners build off their NFC Championship appearance from last season? How will the quarterbacks perform throughout the year?
Purdy back, now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk is on fire!
Will the defense lead this squad again?
Intercepted! Ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner!
Get all your 49er coverage throughout the NFL season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-775-5622. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-775-5622. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-775-5622. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Don't miss out on limited time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. For a limited time, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, get an additional 20% off in-store clearance appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today because Lowe's knows deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 12/28/23 through 1/3/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for free. La, 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 la.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Discover Timber Creek Ballroom, a hidden gem in West Roseville, boasting an 18-hole golf course and the perfect event venue. Whether you're planning a wedding, a corporate event, or any special occasion, Timber Creek Ballroom offers natural beauty, elegant spaces, and affordability, with room for 50 to 300 guests, indoors or outdoors. Timber Creek Ballroom has the perfect spot for your event. Visit timbercreekballroom.com for details. Excellent meets affordability at Timber Creek Ballroom, where your extraordinary events come to life.
as we come together to celebrate the end of this long, long year. Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. Sactown Sports.
Where that's kind of reminiscent of the drills that Drewski does with Jimmy Butler in the Google phone commercial, know, where they're dribbling with one hand, then a coach throws them a basketball, and with the offhand, they got to kind of tip it back. Isn't that what Drewski's doing with Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
And his cousin Spam Likely calls. My cousin Spam, I get that.
You like that commercial.
That's
You're
funny.
a fan of- yeah, this reminds me of drills we do with like 5th, 6th, 7th graders. Like, these are NBA guys doing this right now.
Some of them are struggling with it a little bit.
Yeah, it's
not
tough.
that easy.
It's tough.
Yeah. It's the Charlotte Hornets tonight, of course. Hope you had a great Christmas. I don't know why, Kyle. I love Christmas. I know why I love Christmas, but I don't know why this year I'm as ready to get on with it after Christmas as I've ever been in my life. Typically, I'm like, Christmas, that's too bad.
Really?
I had a great Christmas. But it's like, all right, let's go. And I think a lot of it has to do with seeing where this team goes this year.
Right. The after Christmas push now. Now it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now 2024 starts, you got 4 home games. You got 2 long road trips coming up. See where you stand. And, you mentioned the dog days of the season. It's sort of like where we are now. But with this Sacramento Kings team, with the lineup changes, the injuries, to be 19-12, I feel like they're in a good spot. And I mentioned earlier, in the month of December or January, they have the 7th easiest schedule in the league.
Ooh.
So this is you mentioned, to start off that road trip, the Charlottes, Detroit you play, you handle business here at home. You can really, go, let's say in this 4-game homestand, you go 3-1, you're 22-13, you're 24-12. Man, now you're really talking about something.
3-1, that's 2023, baby. This is 2024.
Oh, you want 4-0? Even against the Pelicans?
Yes.
Yeah,
we owe
gotta
one.
get that.
We owe them a couple. Yeah, you got Charlotte. They played last night. Then tomorrow night, Orlando. They also played last night, a back-to-back for the Kings as well tomorrow. Then Toronto, and then you got New Orleans. I think earlier with Brendan, I said the New Orleans game. Did I say that was Friday? That's the New Orleans game is Sunday. Yeah, Toronto's Friday. Then at Detroit and at Charlotte. So, yeah, it's a soft schedule here a little bit.
Soft schedule these next 6 games. Before you take on Philly. I think that next game is at Philly. But no, you're right. Next 6 games, 5-1, 6-0. I mean, can you imagine the city if the Kings are 25-12?
I can.
Something like
yeah,
that.
just leave the beam on.
Right.
Just leave it on.
Right.
This month.
That would be sweet.
Now, somebody who maybe they hadn't seen the Kings since before Christmas, and then they're really busy with stuff, and they're just getting back to the Kings now. It's hard to imagine because Kings fans aren't like that. But if someone were watching tonight and hadn't seen them since before Christmas, how is this team a little different than they were last time they were here?
I think what you're seeing is a defensive intensity. First of all, we talked earlier about the lineup change, putting Chris Duarte in the starting lineup, Kevin Huerter coming off the bench. But I think these last 2 games, we've seen the defense really step up, especially second half of Atlanta. And remember, Atlanta was a top 10 offensive team in the league. They weren't no slouches, They had one of the better backcourts in the NBA. And in the second half,
they looked like it in the first half.
Yeah, in the first half, they looked great. In the second half, the Kings were able to shut them down. Memphis, they were 4-1 with Ja Morant in the lineup, with Ja coming back. And the Kings made quick work out of them. And so I think, since the last time we're here and even the Portland game, you're seeing a better attention to detail defensively. And I give Chris Duarte a lot of credit. I give Davion Mitchell a lot of credit as well. Those guys have come in and did exactly what Mike Brown has asked of them. Compete on the defensive end, make life hard. There was one play, I think it was the Atlanta game, or it might have been Memphis. Duarte came in, and I forgot who he was guarding. Got whistled for kind of a weak foul, a little ticky-tack foul, and he turns to Mike Brown, goes over to Mike Brown, and Mike is, telling him, hey, it's all good. You're doing exactly what we want you to do. Duarte was like, Coach, what am I supposed to do? And Mike,
that was the one where he was calling for the replay.
Yeah. He got the bad whistle, right? Yeah. And so, So I think, the defensive, Mike talks about the physicality and feeling you. I think that's what Duarte brings to this team. We saw it earlier in the season against San Antonio. He did that. We saw it the other night as well. And so I think that's the difference in this Sacramento team from when they were last home.
Yeah, the big difference, of course, most noticeable is in the lineup changes, which we'll get to. But I have to think that what they did against Atlanta after who knows what Mike Brown told them, we can guess at the essential message. But that's such a great learning experience when the coaches are saying, if you do this, it will work. If you don't, it won't. See, You're not doing it. We're losing. Do this. Then you do it, and then they win. I mean, obviously it gives a team a ton of confidence going forward. But for the coaches, it's just so great to see that, yes, see, we told you this is the way you have to play.
Right. And I thought that was a key to last season also when they went on that 7-game win streak.
Right.
It was like, oh, what coach is saying actually works. And it leads to wins, and that the team bought in. And so it's taken a little longer to this point. I think part of it is because, you felt a little success last season. And so you think automatically you can do it again, but you still got to put in the work. And that's why, a guy like Chris Duarte, I think it can help this team. Not only he has new blood. He's new blood, new energy in there. And so his defensive intensity, I think, can help this team out. And, against the Charlotte team tonight where sure they got a couple guys, this is the NBA, anybody can go off, but you would think when you're fully healthy like Sacramento is, this should be a game where, like somebody said earlier, by halftime, they should be tapping out.
Right.
Moss.
Worst case scenario, everything they throw in the general direction of the basket goes in. Yeah. And you look up in the third quarter and like, oh, we got a game now against these guys.
Right. It's like, and I will say this about Charlotte. When you look at them, a guy like Terry Rozier is a confidence guy. When he's averaging 23.6 points per game this season. T. Rose is, and this guy is probable, so he's going to play 37% from the field. And so they got a couple of guys that can, if you think about it. In that game against Portland, I already forgot the guys' names that were going off. Reith or something. Yeah. He went off for 26. So they got guys. This is the NBA. Like Miles Bridges can go off on you. Rozier can go off on you.
Even PJ.
Even PJ, who had 28 last year against us, can go off on you. So you got to respect these guys and come with that mindset.
Yeah. Scooter 916. I've said this before on the YouTube chat. Says Scooter, if the Kings play basketball like they did against the Suns in the second half against Atlanta, against Memphis, they can beat just about anyone.
Yes. And the thing about those games that I love, it wasn't, they made 23 3-pointers or, they scored 140 points. Like, to do what they did the other night to Memphis, you mentioned it, holding them to 92 points, 21 in the third, and then back it up with 13 in the fourth. That's an encouraging sign for me. And, Memphis with John Morant, to me, they're a better offensive team than what we'll see tonight. And so there's no reason why this Kings team can't do something similar tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to call that going forward a Draper. When you hold the opponent to under 100, that's a Draper. Like in baseball, if you throw a complete game under 100 pitches, that's like a Maddox. But Draper's holding the other team to, because you've been calling for that, and then you actually got
right, exactly.
Against Memphis.
Let's win a game with the defense, not because you hit, 22 threes or something like that. And so I loved what I seen from this team the last couple of games on the defensive end. And, hopefully, to your point, here we are, a new year, Christmas is over. Now they really lock in. And some of those games they gave away early this season, the Houstons, the New Orleans, that doesn't happen going forward. Like, I know we still got 50 games left to go, but let's lock in right now, because when you look at the standings, Whitey, we're not talking about it enough. The West,
I know.
The Clippers are legit, dude.
I know.
Like, the Clippers are going to be there.
Yeah.
And so, when you look at the standings right now, the Kings are in the 5th spot.
Bradley Beal's back now.
Beal's back now. We got this game against the Pelicans coming up, and somebody on the YouTube chat asked about how do you guys feel about the Pelicans game? Manny too legit. Pelicans only a game behind the Kings in the standings. So these are games tonight, Friday night against a revamped Toronto team, this homestand. You got to get these games.
Yes. Meanwhile, De'Aaron Fox has taken his game to new levels, and the basketball world is noticing. And we're right back with that from the Golden One Center. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right out of the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Question for you, Kyle Draper. Question for you too, dear listener, dear viewer. I'm not suggesting there is not a good answer here, but my question is, Charlotte Hornets in town tonight. Who is the face of the franchise all time in your view? Charlotte Hornets. Who's the guy?
Charlotte
You're
Hornets.
telling someone, what are the Charlotte Hornets? You'd start with, well, let me tell you about, because I have mine.
You know what? I got a couple. I could say Glenn Rice.
I
could say,
what a shooter.
Larry Johnson, Grandmama.
Yes.
I could say Del Curry.
Yes.
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy is my guy.
Muggsy's your guy too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he's the best player in history, but to me, I would start any, history of the Charlotte Hornets. I'd have to start with him. Such a unique player. But yeah, and Alonzo Mourning too, right?
And Zoe, yes. Yeah, I was thinking Alonzo. I remember them with their teal uniforms back in it with the lines coming down.
I
and,
think they've broken those out this year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Kemba Walker.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Kemba, my guy, Kemba. David Wesley back in the day, the late Bobby Phills. They had some players come through. They had some talent.
Yeah, kind of a star-crossed franchise, and they left and came back as the Bobcats and then the Charlotte Hornets, and here
Wallace
we are.
And them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Gerald Wallace. He had the deepest voice. Yeah. Gerald Wallace one time, quick story. I was doing an appearance somewhere at this memorabilia place in Sacramento, and they had Jared Wallace, and he was signing posters. And for some reason, they had me sit next to him. It's like, you were
signing too?
Well, if somebody asked, but and I, as you can guess, I wasn't signing a lot of stuff. It was like, can we just get this over with?
Yeah.
And then at the end, the owner who was nice enough to invite me up there, and everything. And he's like, hey, Gerald, can you sign this for Whitey? And Gerald's like, who's Whitey? The deepest voice. That's me, bro. He's just sitting next to you in the last hour and a half. All good.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy, though. And he was a fine player. Found his way.
He was.
Yeah,
he was. He what's interesting about Gerald Wallace, he was part of the Celtics trade way back. And, from the Brooklyn Nets, I believe it was. And there's this photo of him, I think Chris Humphreys and Marshawn, I'm drawing a blank at their introductory press conference.
Marshawn Brooks?
Marshawn Brooks, yeah. And they just look miserable to be there. They just look like, what are we doing here? Like it was the one of the worst pictures, you know. It's supposed to be hype. Oh, here's our new guys.
Yeah.
And they did not want to be there. Fans didn't want them there because they had traded Pierce and Garnett. It was like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Wah, wah. The Kings get some national love today. Is it Michael Pina in the Ringer? He writes about 8 players that are taking their games to the next level. And here are the players: Duncan Robinson, Dylan Brooks,
my guy,
Anthony Simons, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, and top of the list, De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings. He says what De'Aaron Fox is doing here, he calls it incandescent, the way De'Aaron Fox is playing right now.
I think so. I would agree with that. I mean, this is arguably all the love Tyrese is getting, well-deserved. But De'Aaron Fox, and we read this, on the Ringer also, like his shooting numbers and what he's doing right now this season, that guy of all people to be shooting like he is, this is one of the biggest transformations in the NBA.
Coming into this season, as the Ringer points out, and to your point, Kyle, Fox's highest three-point rate was 28.8% in 2021. Now it's 40.6%.
Wow.
And he's drilling 40.3% of his 8.8 attempts per game. We'll see how much he's able to sustain all this. But right now, we all said it. How can De'Aaron Fox get better? Well, he can get better defensively and become a better three-point shooter. And he's doing it right now. He's become an excellent three-point shooter to this point.
Yeah, and it's not a question of if he will be an all-star or not. It's where he should finish in the MVP race. Because what he is doing with this Kings team, and I understand Tyrese is playing fantastic. Tyrese, 20 games, 20 assists, all that. But De'Aaron Fox, when we talk about some of the most unguardable players in the NBA, we can put Durant, we could put Jokic, Giannis, Luka, LeBron. De'Aaron Fox got to be right behind him. I mean, this guy's averaging 30 points per game. At the guard spot, traditionally not a three-point shooter, but now he's added that to his game. I mean, it's tremendous what De'Aaron Fox is doing.
Kings own an exceptional starting 5-2, says the piece, but everything falls apart when Fox is off the court. That includes when he's staggered with Sabonis. When Sabonis takes the floor without Fox, Sacramento's offensive rating plummets to 111.4. When it's Fox and no Sabonis, that number skyrockets to 125.5.
Wow.
He's that impactful so far this year. And of course, he made All-League NBA last year, third team. So I know a lot of people in Sacramento were a little anxious when De'Aaron Fox turned down the Kings extension offer. But the reason he did that is if he makes All-League NBA again this year, then he qualifies for a huge extension.
Supermax.
Yeah.
And we're talking 50, 60 million dollars a year kind of supermax. And, I'm looking at his game log recently. He's taken close to 9 threes per game on the season. But over his last 6, he's taken 10.7 threes per game, shooting 45% from 3. That
kills you. That kills the other team.
That's like all-time great numbers.
That's
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, like the all-time great shooters, and De'Aaron Fox is doing that.
He's doing it, and in all fairness, we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to do it.
Yeah.
Those guys have established they can do it year in, year out. If he can do it, that's terrible news for anybody who has to guard him, because as we said earlier, and I know it's cliche, but how do you guard a guy who can run past you at will because he's so quick and fast, but if you stay off of him, he can knock down a 3? I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, he's at the point now where you just hope for an off night.
Yep.
You just hope, all right, the shots aren't falling on this night, because you're right. If you do try and press up on him, take away the 3, man, he's going right by you.
Right.
That's barbecue chicken.
I think we've seen a little bit. Some teams have already tried to get very physical with him. Teams will probably try to trap him and get the ball out of his hands.
Put some length on
like
him.
this.
They're trying.
Yeah. That's about the only thing that seems to work. But it's impressive when you see a guy bet on himself and a guy who was all league NBA to if he wasn't so good already, he'd be a candidate for most improved player, right? But he's too good to qualify for that.
Right.
It's just that he's really taken it up a few notches as far as shooting the three ball.
And what I love about him, Whitey, and I got to shed more light on this, even during when I do the broadcast. There used to be an old saying, when players go into the offseason, all right, what do you work on? What are you going to improve on? What are you getting better at? And I don't think we talk about that as much anymore. What are you adding to your game? But we see it with De'Aaron Fox. Like the proof in the pudding. The work he put in this offseason is paying off. I told this story on the broadcast. I don't know if I've told it here on radio, but I was talking to Luke Laux, and we played the interview with Luke Laux earlier this season. De'Aaron Fox working out with Steph Curry. Obviously, you want to soak in whatever knowledge you can from Steph Curry. But Luke said after that first workout with Steph Curry, De'Aaron Fox, his forearms were cramping up on him. The workouts were so intense. The shooting drills were so hard. But that's the no pain, no gain kind of mentality that we're seeing. It was painful for De'Aaron Fox then, but now he's reaping the benefits and the rewards now. And I just love it. When you see guys put in the work and then have the success on the floor, and now he's at such a confident level. I mean, the way he shoots, even that long distance three. Brendan Nunes was mentioning
the logo. Logo out there like Dame country.
Yeah, and I was watching him warm up. This is like a week or two ago. And I thought to myself, why is he taking these long threes like this? Like, that's not his game. Like, that's not him. But it's becoming him.
He's making it that way.
He is trying. Yes, he is progressing to that point, and he's going to be unguardable.
I'm going to read this. Pardon me for reading something here, but I think it's just a quick paragraph, and I think it's something. If you're a Kings fan, you can really relish this because remember, this is the Ringer. It's a national piece. Quote: so long as Fox's volume and the accuracy behind the arc are what they've been, Sacramento has a real superstar who can be the best player on a championship contender. He's now scoring 30 points per game with the fourth highest usage rate in the entire league. This should be a much bigger story than it is. End quote.
And that's the Ringer.
Yes.
National.
Yes.
Man, guys, you need to look at what this guy is doing. And the fact that he said superstar on a championship team. That's music to my ears right there. And
your friend Kevin O'Connor's not going to like it.
Yeah, we may have to get Michael on the the broadcast here. And if he comes on, then I'll know Kevin O'Connor is lying to me.
That's right.
Reason why O'Connor won't come on is he says the Ringer frowns upon their guys doing interviews. And so Michael Pina comes on. We got to get him on for sure. The love he's giving De'Aaron Fox. And it's just, I thought the Kings last season and Fox's ascension was one of the best stories in the NBA, and it was. But to watch him become not only a star, but a superstar, maybe first or second team All-NBA guy, I mean, it's like he's playing better than Steph Curry, right? Like, think about that. Right now, De'Aaron Fox is playing better than Steph Curry.
Yep.
He is better than Steph Curry. His season's better than Steph.
In the offseason, when we all talked about what do you need to see from the Kings this year, my first thing was we need to see that what Domas and Fox did last year was legit.
Yes.
I mean, maybe that was pessimistic. I don't know, but to me, it's like that's the first thing I need to see. Well, there's no question. I mean, they've actually played better so far this year.
Right. And Domas, too. I got an email from a viewer the other day after the pregame show, and she said, Kyle, as much as Fox is playing great, and we love him, you got to give some love to Domantas Sabonis. And I think we've reached a point with Domas where it's like, ho-hum,
25, 12, and 9.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what he does. That's what he does. But it's remarkable, He's averaging, we said it before the season, 19.4 points, 12.3 rebounds, 7.5 assists while shooting close to 60%. I mean, this dude is amazing. Like in the month of December, 20 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists for Domantas Sabonis. I mean, both these guys deserve. If these guys played for the Knicks, can you imagine the love that they would be getting on all the networks?
Yep. I will say it. They were both on NBA TV next week. So they're making progress in that direction. But you're right. Yeah, if they were at a bigger market. Woo. All right. When we come back, as great as those two players have been this year, do the Kings still need somebody? And what's the market look like after the OG deal? And Kyle Kuzma do anything for you? Ooh. We talk trades when we come back to the Golden One Center. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab your trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin Ultra Soft on the party, this is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vibe. Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Knee, foot, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
I want to put on my boogie shoes. No. I want to put on some of the shoes that Kyle Draper got at the Nike store when he was in Portland.
Yeah, your boy cleaned up out there.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, 7 pairs of sneakers were purchased at the Nike employee store.
How long were you in there? Did you have fun just going through it, or were you like,
we had to get through quick because it was a game day, and they only gave us 45 minutes. And the lines were long too. But 7 pair. I'm actually wearing one tonight. Actually. Yeah, I got some. Yeah. So it's a little light work here, Whitey. But no,
those are nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me. You see that?
Yes.
Got the gold right there.
Sorry, we can't.
I know I can't.
20 years ago, he could have put his foot up here.
Right. You're right. I can't get it up there. But no, that was one of the highlights of the trip. Like, think about it. Who would have thought that going to Portland, the best thing to come out of sneakers?
Oh, well.
We got our butts kicked. At least I got some nice kicks. Some nice sneakers.
So, lesson learned, it won't happen tonight, right?
Right? Yeah. I know if it was me, if it was you, if it was us, it wouldn't happen. I got to see how these guys respond, coming off a road trip, New Year, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But strictly talent-wise, on paper,
no contest.
No contest. The Kings should win. This is a defeated Charlotte team that has lost 11 in a row. We got 2 All-NBA guys. We got Keegan. We got a 6th Man of the Year candidate, Malik. I mean, let's go. We should get this.
On the chat here, we're just talking about De'Aaron Fox, and we'll get to the trade conversations here. Aaron says, I would like to see De'Aaron get the calls that I see other guys get. He says, I know it's a process with officials, but I think he's done that.
Really?
Huh.
Okay. what's going to be interesting with De'Aaron, and you know this, Whitey, from covering basketball, he's taking all these threes now. So now he's not going to get the whistles, and so I'm looking at his free throw percentage. 72% De'Aaron Fox is shooting this season. I'd like to see that up around 78 or 80.
Yeah. Didn't somebody on the text line? I know hear somebody say.
Somebody on the text line.
I love this when people say this. Yeah.
Absolutely love what we're seeing. However, if our two best players can average better than 50 to 60% on their free throws, none of it's going to matter. That will take us nowhere.
That's old school, but I love it.
Yeah, you got to knock that. They're called free throws for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Freebies. And so I want to pull up De'Aaron Fox's numbers for this streak that he's on. Remember earlier I said he was averaging about 10.7 3-point attempts per game over his last 6. Conversely, when you look at his free throw shooting, he's averaging 5.3 attempts per game. That's he should be up 8-9 a game.
Well, Aaron says he's not getting the calls, and I hadn't really thought about it. Just to my eye, I haven't looked this up. I think he gets called for more ticky-tack fouls than some big name players get.
Like
I'm not saying
defending,
because he's always, he does voice his displeasure as most players do, but I think he gets called for a lot more minor infractions than some players of his caliber.
Yeah. It's wow, Whitey. How about this? Man, I tell you, your boy Drapes, man, when he stumbles upon a fine, the first 19 games of the season. So 19, 6. That's how I'm breaking it up. The last 6 games when he's averaging 10.7 threes, what was it? 5.3 free throw attempts. His first 19 games of the season, he averaged 8.1 free throws. So I don't know if we can have it both ways.
Right.
I don't know if we can have it both ways. And back then he was shooting 8.3 threes. So he's taking 2.5 more threes a game.
3's more than 2, so I like it this way.
You like it this way?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're cool with that then.
I think so.
3 is more than 1, too, from the free throw line as well.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he's going to, and I would look at Steph Curry. I'm going to pull that up really quickly. When you shoot so many threes, I don't know if you're going to get the calls.
Yeah.
When
you do shoot them, you got to make them, obviously.
Right.
Warriors, by the way, as you know, the Warriors are really reeling right now. They don't know up from down. They're not sure what's going on.
They don't know the rotation.
Steve Kerr says our chemistry's fine now. We want to fix our chemistry and our culture, but we're not gritty enough.
Yeah.
So, they're struggling. Their bottom line is they're just not that good right now.
They aren't.
They have some good players, but as a team, people assume it's the Warriors. What's wrong? Well, they're not that good. That's the problem.
And, I'm looking at Steph's numbers. Steph's at 5.8 free throws per game. Steph Curry, his highest average free throws per game, 6.3. He's just not, because he's a 3-point shooter.
Right.
So, De'Aaron, I think we're witnessing the transition from De'Aaron getting downhill to the paint and hopefully getting the calls to De'Aaron on the perimeter, not going to the free throw line as much.
What do you think of this, to that point?
Yeah.
I think if I were an NBA coach, the one thing more than anything else that would drive me crazy was having my guys foul 3-point shooters.
Oh, that's the worst, right?
I know now it's like it's such an important shot and the guys can make it, so you got to contest. But when they foul somebody, especially at the end of a game, and they miss it, it's like, how can you let that happen? What am I missing?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's one of the things you hear coaches talk about all the time. Like, don't foul the 3-point shooter. Don't foul the 3-point shooter.
And it happens all the time now. And I realize a lot of it is because he can make that, coach. I got to get out there. But yeah, you see games sometimes decided by a guy shoots a 3, no good. Oh, but he was fouled. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's and guys are so good at drawing those, like Steph Curry. Oh my gosh, the guy is trying to draw a foul on every shot attempt. Like the way he goes down, the way he kicks his legs out, flops.
Wasn't Reggie Miller the best ever at that, though?
Oh my God, yes, and people used to complain all the time about Reggie, and no, it's part of the game now. And going back to the Warriors, are there struggles? We can't even just trace it back to Draymond Green. Like, because Clay wasn't playing well, Wiggins wasn't playing well, and now you got Trace Jackson-Davis starting over Kevon Looney down there in Golden State.
Yeah, Wiggins is like, he just is not close to the player he was when they won the championship. And like Kuminga and Wiggins, they're not very effective on the floor at the same time. And sure, they miss Draymond, but yeah, Clay is, when he slumps now, he starts forcing things. So they got a number of things that are going wrong for them. Yeah. I don't know that they're going to ever, find it and go on a winning streak in this conference.
Hey, that's fine with me. No love lost, no tears being shed over here.
The only thing that bothers me about that, though, is if that is the end of the Warriors, if they're essentially done, it's too bad the Kings couldn't put the nail in the coffin.
Right, be the one that
because they had that chance.
Let me ask you, because we're talking about trade targets and things like that, and Klay Thompson's name is being brought up. Don't want no part of that. Huh?
Nah, he's just not the same guy. And if you could get him at a bargain level, maybe, but
too, right, coming off the bench,
right, I don't see it. I don't know. Am I wrong? You see it differently?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Something's up with Clay, and he's not as good defensively. Obviously.
I mean, of course, he had two major injuries, consecutive years or whatever it was. Yeah.
And did you see his stat line the other day? Who did they just lose to? Oh, let me pull this up really quickly, because his stat line the other day.
Oh, they just lost to Miami.
Yeah, it was Miami.
A short-handed Miami.
And he had 3 points.
He was dreadful.
Yeah, he was 1 of 11, I think it was, from the field, and had 3 points. And it's like, this is Klay Thompson we're talking.
The final margin of that game was like 12 or something, but they got blown out. They rallied late to make it that close. And Miami didn't have no Jimmy Butler, no Kyle Lowry. That was a really troubling loss for the Warriors.
Yeah. And I'm looking that up. No, it was and then they lost to Dallas.
That's
after that.
Yeah.
And that was the game. He was 1 of 11, had 3 points in 26 minutes. And Clay's at the point, if he's not making shots, he's unplayable right now.
Right.
And no, you're right. They got some issues. Pajemski is taking minutes away from him. They got Chris Paul in the starting lineup now as well. And so, Kevin O'Connor said, I forget who he said broke us. Well, the Celtics broke us. Well, I think the Warriors are broken right now. And Steve Kerr, he's just trying different things to see if it'll work. But I expect them to try and be active at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you're right. They lost to the Heat, and then both games were at home, and then Dallas just kind of toyed with them.
Yeah.
Finally finished them off over the weekend. All right, we got to get to the trade talk. There's a couple players now that are considered the next trade dominoes. Will they fall? Will they fall in the Kings' direction? Kyle Kuzma's name is popping up again. What do you think of Kuz as a King? Back with that and more from the Golden One Center Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Guys, want to lose weight, improve your performance, and increase your drive? Revive Men's Health can help you make it happen with our new cutting-edge weight loss medications, like your favorite athletes and celebrities use. They're affordable and available now. And since your testosterone level has a direct impact on your weight and fitness, get a free T-check and free exam. Book your appointment today at Revive Sacramento. We know we can help you. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Well, this is a little unusual because we don't normally have a lot of fans at the Golden One here before the game when we're doing our show, as we are tonight, getting ready for the Kings and the Hornets. But there's a guy here. I think he's listens to the station all the time, and he wants to say hello to you. Would that be okay if we?
Yeah, that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah, well,
because it's Freddie fan. You sure you want?
Oh, that dude.
Yeah.
Again.
So let me just put the. Yeah. Go ahead. How you doing? Kyle Draper, how you doing, Freddie fan? How you doing?
What's up, Freddie fan? How you doing? I don't know why I did that voice to you, Freddie.
You
fan.
making fun of me? How come the Kings couldn't get OG Anunoby? How come they couldn't get him? Barrett and the other guy and the draft pick. Why did the Kings get him?
What would we have given up, Freddie fan?
Herder, I think. Ostertag, I put in there.
Ostertag too. Oh man.
Barnes and a draft pick.
And a 2035 second rounder, right? That would have got it done. Well, here's the problem, Freddie fan. This is an NBA 2K. The Knicks' assets, player-wise, were better than what we have. Our assets are draft picks, and those draft picks aren't as valuable as they used to be.
What about Davion and Sasha? You could have thrown in Davion and Sasha.
Good players, but I don't think that would get it done, Freddie fan. It takes two to tango. And so the Knicks, the Raptors would have to accept that as well. And so I know you sit in your mom's basement and think of.
It's not true. She's not home. I don't know where she is. Staying in a friend's house currently.
I know you do the ESPN trade machine all day, but it's going to take a little bit more.
I used to when I had the internet.
Right? Back on AOL when you had to dial up back in the day,
right.
Freddie fan.
That's right.
So, I understand you like the player, and OG's a solid player, but we just didn't have the assets to compete, Freddie fan. Can we get Whitey back?
I'm sorry, Freddie. I'm sorry
that
about
guy,
that, Kyle.
man. I tell you. We just put
I'm not
anybody
sure I want
on
to put
there
these
nowadays.
headphones on after that, but thank you, Freddie, for listening. Thanks for coming by. I thought he made some good points, though.
Didn't
there are a lot of fans that saw that, right, initially and said, well, wait, that's not that much for OG Anunoby. It's not as much as we thought it was going to cost. Didn't we think it was like 3 1s or something?
Yeah, we thought it was 3 1s, but what fans don't understand, and Freddie fan included, the Raptors got 2 young potential studs, 2 guys that could potentially average 20 points per game going forward. RJ Barrett at 23 has already proven to be a 20-point per game scorer. Emmanuel quickly averaging 15 points a game at age 24. And so to me, the Raptors were looking for young assets that could be a part of their team, not only now, but going forward, guys they can build around. And we'll see them Friday when they come to Sacramento. But you got Scotty Barnes, you got RJ Barrett, you got Quickly, and for now you got Pascal Siakam. That's a pretty impressive foursome right there. And our guys just wouldn't move the needle for them.
By the way, another part of that, maybe a minor part, but a part of it that people don't talk about, RJ Barrett is Canadian too. So
Canadian,
yeah.
right.
So,
exactly.
that's a nice little thing to dangle in front of your fans.
Exactly.
Look, he's a Canadian guy.
And what's so interesting about it, and somebody mentioned earlier, Kevin Herter's probably our best young asset. Kevin Herter's only 25.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I felt like he is 27. It just seems like he's been around forever. But he's still young as well. But he doesn't have the upside as some of those other guys.
See, that's what, don't you think, push comes to shove. They'd never say this publicly, but that's one of the things that hurts the Kings about Herter's slow start this year is if you wanted to move him, his value is plummeted. I'm not saying that, they'd go out of the bend over backwards to trade him, but if you wanted to trade him, teams would go, why? He's struggling. Why would we want a guy who's struggling? So one of your assets doesn't have the value that it had last year.
Yeah, and one thing, I was talking to Matt Barnes earlier today, and we'll talk about this on the pregame show on NBC.
Are you guys having Freddie the fan on the show?
No. Trust me, we got already enough fans on our air. But when you look at, this time of year, especially after New Year, sometimes you start showcasing guys. And so I wonder if Davion back in the rotation, is it to showcase him? I don't know. But those are some of the questions that raised. Because it's not like, sure, Keon didn't play well in that Portland game, but nobody really did. And so why did Mike Brown all of a sudden decide to go back to Davion?
Crossed my mind as well.
Right?
That's
something to think about.
Yeah, Scooter916 says, I'm not sure how much I love the thought of Kuzma here. And we mentioned that because there was a report, Clutch Sports said the Wizards are going to shop Kuzma. He just doesn't feel like a fit to me, but that's my gut. He's a scorer. But if he's not going to be the go-to guy, what will he do? I'm not crazy about Kuzma either for basically those reasons, Scoot. And I think even Kyle Draper is cooled on Kuzma.
Yeah, I was all in on Kuzma this offseason. I thought he should have been, a guy we went after. I would have liked to seen him in a Kings uniform. But, as I go through this season and I look at what the Kings have, to me, their most cherished, important thing is the development of Keegan Murray. You bring in a guy like Kuzma who needs the ball, who's going to take shots. That hampers the development of young Keegan Murray. So I don't think as we get to that February 8th trade deadline, they won't make any moves that can stifle Keegan's development. I will say a guy like OG Anunoby, though, I don't think would do that. Like, he could play off the ball.
And he played well last night,
and
by
he
the way.
played well last night in his
Knicks,
debut with the Knicks. Yeah. He can move without the ball. He doesn't need the ball. He's not asking for 20 shots a game. Whereas I feel like Kuzma, when he's on the floor, is looking to get buckets.
That's why I also wonder about the fit with Siakam, another player I like. Yeah.
Pascal's nice, though, man.
Yeah?
I was talking to somebody last week about this in an imposing organization. And they were like, man, if you guys could get Pascal Siakam, give me that any day of the week. Like, some people are high on Pascal. And, when you look at Pascal, what is he, 27, I think? So he's a little bit older, 29. And you got to sign him.
He's a good defender. He's not all league, but he's a good defender. What's his three? Do you have those numbers?
Yeah, I got his numbers.
His 3-point shooting, I know this year hasn't been terrific.
28.5 this year. Yeah, he's struggling from three so far this year. But, a two-time All-Star, a champ, averaging 22.4 points per game, struggling from three. His career best was 37%. He was only shooting 2.7. That came in his third year. So he's not a three-point shooter. He's not a guy that's going to fill it.
Yeah, his numbers suggest to me that he might be starting to decline, not precipitously, but he might be on the back. So he might be on the back nine, and I'd be reluctant to give up future assets for him. But they're scouting him, right? So they have a clearer idea of that than I do just by looking at his numbers. By the way, you mentioned Clay, which is a fair question, and Tin on the chat says Malik Monk is the Kings Clay right now. As far as the firepower and the strut.
Shooting. The strut. Oh, yeah, the strut for sure.
Yes,
right?
yes.
100%. And was it 10 or Scooter or somebody said Klay Thompson could go 0 for 100, and he would still have a strut, though, right? He hasn't lost that's for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so those are the names being thrown around. And then also, we talked about them last time we were together. It's, again, being reported by Clutch Sports that DeJounte Murray is believed to be a guy on the market. Knicks are apparently looking at him, but Kyle says there's reports the Knicks now are done. Nobody has linked the Kings to DeJounte Murray except Kyle Draper and Kevin Gleason, but we're hoping, right? Even though he didn't play well in the second half against the Kings, I like the fit.
No, I love the fit. A guy that's long, athletic, can get his buckets, among the league leaders in deflections and steals every year. And so, no, I'm with you. I like DeJounte. I wonder about what it's going to take. If you're Atlanta, what are you interested in? Is it picks?
Yeah, do you want to save your season, or are you looking to help retool?
Yeah. And so I worry about that. And so I don't know, Whitey. We talk about this, and I know it's our job, but I'm not optimistic about our trade possibilities. We're naming some big names, some guys we would all love to have. And I don't know if we have the assets to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, that was clutch points. Sources, Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray, next NBA trade market, dominoes to fall. I think there's a story in there somewhere as far as why the Kings cooled on Anunoby. That may have happened, if you follow the narrative, might have happened last offseason, where they were in on him, liked him, and then all of a sudden something led them to believe, nope, it's not to be. And as we surmised earlier, speculating, maybe they got word that OG just didn't have any interest in staying here long-term, just was not going to do it. And they felt like, okay, it's not worth giving up some assets to have him as a rent.
Right.
I don't know, but I think you can still look at this team as well as they're playing now, and you could say they're still I don't know if it's a need, but it would certainly be nice to have one more guy on this team.
Yeah, I think so. But I think, and we're all in agreement, to win a championship, you're going to need another guy.
Yeah, to win a championship, they need another guy. Yeah.
But what is that another guy, though? That's the problem. Are they expecting Keegan to be that 25-point per game scorer, 22-point per game scorer, that alpha next to, that Robin next to De'Aaron's Batman? Or are we looking for more depth? And, I don't know what we're looking for right now. And so we could throw out all these names, OG, Pascal, Zach LaVine, whatever, but we don't know how the Kings view Keegan Murray, or maybe we do. So maybe we need to look at the second tier or third tier names out there.
Yeah,
we're not looking for a guy that's going to come in and average 25 a game or anything like that.
This is interesting from Clutch Points. The Hawks previously offered a trade package centered around DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin for Siakam. They remain fixated on the idea of pairing Siakam with Trae Young. That's the Hawks, according to this report. Along with the Hawks, the Pacers, Kings, Sixers, Mavericks expressed prior interest in Siakam. Of the teams listed above, Atlanta remains the favored destination. I don't know. That's kind of old news around here, right? Doesn't mean it's not true, but the Kings are interested in Siakam. That story's been circulating around here for quite a while.
Yeah. And I love Siakam. Great player. Doesn't shoot the three. Free agent after this season. And is going to cost you a lot. And so I'm not looking at him as, an option for Sacramento. And DeJounte Murray, we would all like to have, I think. But it sounds like the Lakers are interested in DeJounte Murray.
Yes,
right?
That's what Shams is suggesting, yeah.
And so we need to go back to the drawing board is what I'm saying. We spent last week and we came up with a brilliant name, DeJounte Murray.
Mm-hmm.
That was our guy. Now I see what OG was traded for. I see our assets. We need to come up with somebody else.
All right.
We need to come up with a different name.
Okay.
That's hard work. It took us
yeah.
a while. It took us all season to come up with DeJounte. That's our guy.
The crazy thing to me is that as much sense as that makes, and we talked about it, I haven't seen anyone else anywhere come up with that.
I know.
Yep. Nobody anywhere.
Dude, maybe we need to write that.
Yeah.
Put it out on the Twitterverse
so.
And then get it aggregated.
Yeah. But you know what? The best deals are the ones, and especially the ones Monty makes, kind of like Petrie, where you didn't hear about it. It happened. Yeah. Nobody heard about it beforehand. All right, coming up here, Kings schedule softening up. Can they take advantage of that? We're all over that from the Golden One Center when we come back. Kings' first game of the new year against Charlotte tonight. It's a Drive, guys, on Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-775-5622. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-775-5622. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-775-5622. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Plati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sactown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Sacramento's premier music festival, Country in the Park, is back. 2 big ol' nights, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Walker Hayes, and more. 2-day GA tickets are on sale now starting at $85 or upgrade your experience with VIP or pit passes. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Bonnie Plumbing, Electric Heating and Air.
California's largest Sportsman's Expo is back, January 18th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Get $3 off coupons at Big O Tires and O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Get to the action in Toyota's all-new Tacoma. Visit sportsexpos.com for locations, seminars, and show info. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 18th through 21st at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with primetime football. It's back. Capital Casino is giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. Offering the best food, best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region and conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Yeah, we're excited about being here, the Golden One Center for the Kings' first game of the new year. Kyle Draper getting his uniform on, getting ready for his TV stuff tonight.
Yeah, man.
Looks good. Looks good. Yeah,
I was waiting for the jab.
No jab. No jab. I'm not going to jab you because you're on
nervous
TV.
over here, man. Yeah,
Oh.
just getting prepared like Superman, hopping in the phone booth. Change up. Got to. On radio, I could just let it fly. The Drapes takes and on
Right.
TV, I gotta.
Well, I know, and the YouTube changes everything now because in the old days, like I said, I had this thing that wouldn't cut, shave it, wouldn't, so I had to put a Band-Aid on, which normally Ray's like, who cares? But on YouTube, it's like, oh no.
Everybody's been
saying
staring at it.
Yeah,
I
know.
Like, what is
I
up?
know.
with that
I
light
know.
there? Yeah,
I know.
What's going on?
As far as the YouTube, the reason I bring it up, the chat, there's two things that are really big on the chat right now. One is Guerrero Gross says there's nothing better than gardening while listening to sports, which take your word for that. And then two, people happen to see behind us the great Gary Gerald.
G-Man
back there. Hey!
I know G-Man. Oh, he's
talking to Sam.
What's up,
Yeah.
Sam? Oh,
It's Sam Amick right there.
We can't get Sam on the show. He's a paid guy from Carmichael Dave and them.
You're on
can't
YouTube
afford
right
you.
now, Sam. Yeah.
Give me one trade rumor I need to follow.
Sam? PJ?
PJ,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw him on.
Well, I don't know. Can you put a mic
afford
on
it?
it?
Just 2 minutes. 2
All
minutes.
right. Yeah.
What's that going to cost us? About $1,000?
Yeah. The great Sam Amick. Happy New Year, Sam.
$1,000, that works.
Yeah.
What you got for me?
People are
Give
more
me some.
interested in what's going on back there with like you and G-Man than like, we've heard enough of
That's
those.
what I get for saying hi to G-Man.
Right.
Listen, full disclosure before we jump into King stuff, I was listening earlier, and gosh darn, man, Kyle, you a Purdy hater out here.
You paid him to do that, right? you texted him, hey,
not
bring
yet.
up-
You
haven't
said,
paid him
you
yet.
said in today's NFL, everybody should be breaking passing records.
I just don't think he can turn water into wine like everybody else thinks he can. That's all.
Yeah.
He doesn't walk on water. So,
Trade rumor wise, obviously, you guys got it with Brendan. Talked about OG being off the table. I thought, I never thought the Kings were going to go down that road, but
Right.
that's a name that is now out of the mix. I don't know what direction they're going to go. I wrote a couple of weeks ago and was a little surprised that the insight I got from the organization was that the focus on the offense was actually still the focus. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Despite the hopes of getting better defensively. And you see the Herter move to the bench. I'm curious tonight if that continues.
Right.
Duarte giving them more in that starting lineup. But they're going to be active. They got the assets. They got the aspirations. And I think that'll make the trade deadline pretty interesting.
Sam, I know you're busy and you honestly have to catch up with G-Man. Can I ask you about one deal that Kyle and I think makes sense for the Kings, but we haven't heard anybody mention it. We know that DeJounte Murray potentially is available, and we think he might make sense here. Just in general, I don't want, if you got a scoop going or something, I'm not asking you to spill the beans. But in general, what do you think that? Because Kyle and I both say, that makes a lot of sense, and no one else is even suggesting that.
So honestly, it's funny you bring that up. I don't have fresh intel there. I'm probably going to pursue it. Just being real, because I think it's interesting. I did think about it today. I agree that DeJounte is a name that is going to become more prominent. Here's the context I think is so fascinating within the Kings kind of calculus is I'm going way back. If you go back to the choice to not take Luka Doncic, that had everything to do with letting De'Aaron Fox cook and let him be his best version of himself. And I think that's an extreme version of the same question, which is you got to be real careful who you put next to De'Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if I was the Kings or any other team, I would be. DeJounte is a really good player.
Yeah.
It would worry me that in Atlanta that playing next to Trey didn't go better. You know what I mean? And Trey he's one of one in terms of his style.
Yeah.
He's different than De'Aaron, but I think that's a consideration because the last thing you want to do, the Kings are one of those teams where if you put all your chips on the table and this is your big move, and then you just find out that it's a little similar to Atlanta where De'Aaron's not as good.
Yeah, we don't want that.
And the defense is maybe a little bit better, but DeJounte's, not at his best offensively. But he's a very good two-way player and a guy who I think would kind of in a vacuum be seen as an upgrade.
Sam, let me ask you. See, hey, us basketball minds, we know what we're talking about over here. Sam, one of the things that we're struggling with today is I'm not sure I know what the Kings are in the market for.
Right.
Meaning we're throwing out these big names, Pascal, OG, Levine, but are they hopeful that Keegan is that big guy and you just need some, core guys, pieces around them? Like, what do you think are their needs right now? Do they need that upper tier guy?
Or are they going to moneyball it and find somebody undervalued somewhere?
Yeah.
I'm handicapping here. I would probably project the latter.
Yeah.
I don't, because there's a lot of years where that certain teams have got their eye on somebody big time. You know what I mean? Where if we get our hands on this guy, then we'd be in a good spot. You don't hear that name with the Kings. You hear with Levine, you hear, some concern about style and this and that. Not to say there's no chance, but Siakam, he's coming up on free agency. Are you ready to pay him a boatload of money? There's kind of a but with every big name out there.
Right.
And again, you bring up Keegan Drapes, and that's a name they're going to be real careful with. I think the idea of having Keegan in anything would be a blockbuster deal, which right now I don't see. See out there. I honestly why I kind of love that you brought up the DeJounte thing. I think that's one that they will need to look at because I think that's going to get louder.
Sam, thank you. And thank you for not staring at my Band-Aid here. I cut myself shaving, and it was like the Eagles defense trying to stop the Cardinals. It just, the bleeding wouldn't stop. So
I can't catch a break, man. I can't kick me while I'm down. That's all right.
I didn't know how else to
I'm
say
a little
it.
bit of a closet Niner fan. So
Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, closet? Those are the worst. Why?
Because I'm a media dude. You get kind of wired.
Yeah, I get it.
Once I got 20 years into the career and I wasn't writing football, you kind of let yourself be a fan again.
Right.
Where
are you from originally, Sam?
Pleasanton, down in the Bay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Montana kid, all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Sam,
you're okay.
and I apologize
Thank you,
for
gentlemen.
Appreciate you, baby. All right. Check is in the mail.
Of
Check
course.
is in the mail.
Man, that was easy.
Yeah. Dave will make good. Thank you.
Thanks,
There you go. How about that?
Sam backing us up on that.
Yes.
Right? That is good. But he brought up the Luka Doncic situation in the De'Aaron. You don't want to do anything. I feel like the same way with Keegan right now. I think that's their thinking with Keegan Murray also. So a guy like Siakam, that would impact Keegan Murray. A guy like Levine,
no question,
impact Keegan Murray.
It's a consideration.
Yeah,
no question.
I think it's a consideration for them.
As you're trying to develop him and get him, as you have said, comfortable taking more shots. Last thing you want is him playing along somebody who's going to take all the extra shots that are available.
Exactly. And, to Sam's point about DeJounte in Atlanta, I think that has more to do with Trae Young and not,
I would think so.
It didn't work. Like, the only question is, you don't want to upset De'Aaron in terms of the mental, psychological part of it. Like, you got to make sure whatever move you make, he's on board with 100%.
Right.
Because we don't want De'Aaron to be upset or pouty or whatever it may be. Like, we got a good thing going here. We need to continue the good vibes. Don't bring anybody in that could upset the locker room, the chemistry, and what we have going on.
If you look at DeJounte Murray's numbers, I think they suggest that he's made the adjustment to playing off the ball. However, the team is underperforming.
Yeah.
So something's wrong there, and maybe it is just the fit there. That's why he writes for The Athletic,
Yeah, exactly.
That stuff.
Yeah,
but worth looking into. An exciting time of the year. I hope fans won't be too disappointed if the Kings don't pull the trigger on something fairly major. Like, frankly, a lot of fans were when the Kings in the offseason decided, no, we're not going to do anything major.
Yeah. And honestly, it's more likely that that's the course of action for Monty McNair, especially now. It's, we've seen this offseason, he's comfortable with letting things marinate a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like a rotisserie chicken. Sure, you could throw it in the air fryer and cook it, in 20 minutes. But Monty's like, you know what? We're going to slow cook this thing.
Right.
It's going to be more flavorful.
You don't
want to last
dry.
Yeah, you don't want it all dry and everything. So we're good. Everything is okay.
I thought you already ate. You're making me hungry. Yeah. All right. Kings keys to getting this new year off to a great start. And, how soft is this schedule in the next week or so? We're back with that here as we wrap it up from the Golden One Center. Who knows? Maybe the High Flyer is going to pop up.
Oh,
you never know who's going to pop up behind us on the YouTube. from the Golden One Center, the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it! I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
New year begins tonight for the Kings against the Charlotte Hornets. I think, if this were like a homecoming scenario and the Kings were allowed to handpick their opponent for this game, the Charlotte Hornets, no disrespect intended, they'd be one of the candidates, right? You'd look at
11 straight losses, banged up, injured, without their starting point guard. Oh, man, Keegan Murray just missed a dunk. He went for it, but he just missed a dunk during warm-ups. He's smiling, though, so that's good. That's a good sign. No, you're right. This is a Charlotte team, dead last defensively, reeling right now, 11 straight losses, coming off a back-to-back. You've been home, you rested yesterday, and so, this is tailor-made to start off 2024 on the right foot.
This has got to be in some ways, a really tough era for guys like you doing play-by-play. I'm just looking out here, and at both ends of the floor, we have one set of twins. And I realize, you got Martin over there,
Martin,
whose twin is playing for Miami.
Yeah.
You got Keegan here, whose brother plays for Portland. So it's going to be tough sometimes, especially when they play against
each other, right? And it's tough, too, when you, see a picture of them or something. And you're like, all right, which one is our guy? Which one's Keegan again? That happened last week when I was in Portland. I was like, I think that's our guy right there. And so, I saw in Houston the Thompson twins.
That's right.
They played yesterday.
Osser and
Amen. They played also. You're seeing more and more of that, huh?
Yes.
In the league. This is pretty crazy.
So here's the Kings' upcoming schedule. As you may know, Charlotte tonight, then Orlando tomorrow night. Orlando plays tonight. So, tomorrow will be the second of a back for the Kings, but also for the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic's a good team.
Good team.
Yeah.
19-13 this season. Right there with the Kings. Similar records.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, they are the Kings of this year. Like how Sacramento was last year. This is Orlando this year.
Friday, Toronto, a team that's kind of in a state of flux right now, making some deals. Then you got the Pelicans Sunday and the Kings. The 49ers game now. It's like, well, who cares about that? Right. So it's all about Sunday, the Kings and the Pelicans. And the Kings clearly owe them one, but obviously the Pelicans are a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, and is this schedule tougher than, I don't think the game, obviously tomorrow is going to be difficult. Orlando's a good team. I don't think the Raptors, despite their 13-20 record, I think we got to look at them a little bit differently now with the addition of RJ and Quickly.
All right.
Much more offensive firepower, I think, because you still got Pascal. You still got Scotty Barnes. So you got some length. And so, that Toronto game, I'm going to throw out the record on that one because I need to see how they look going forward.
Well, maybe this upcoming schedule is not as soft as I thought, except that then you're at Detroit and at Charlotte.
Yeah.
Before you play,
Yes.
I think the Bucks and the Sixers.
Bucks
in there.
and Sixers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it gets really tough. I think Phoenix is on the back end of that trip as well.
And they're
At
playing
Phoenix.
better, too.
They're playing better as well. And so this 6-game stretch we got here, this is your chance to make some hay. You're 19-12. Right now, you're a half a game behind the Clippers, who are rocking and rolling. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And so if you're Sacramento, these are important games, man, because especially that Pelicans matchup. Pelicans right now a game behind Sacramento. So come Sunday, that could be for 5th place, 4th place in the standings. And they've had your number all season long. So.
That's it makes this season so interesting. But boy, the Kings are playing great lately. Where are they? Well, they're 5th. They're half game behind the Clippers, but they're only a game ahead of New Orleans. They're only a game and a half out of the play-in scenario.
That's how tough the West is, right? I mean, and you look at the teams surrounding them, like, I don't think the Pelicans are going anywhere. I think, they're competing for a legit top 6 seed. Mavericks, we'll see what happens with them. They're 4-6 their last 10. Phoenix, they still haven't been healthy, but if they get healthy, that they could go on a run. And so it's not, in my opinion, I got the Kings anywhere from 3rd to 7th or 8th. Like they legitimately could be in any of those realms.
When you use the word legitimately, to me, one way you can determine whether a team is legitimate or not, especially at this point, we've had, a quarter of the season, whatever it is. What's a team doing on the road? Because I still think, I know things change, but you have to be a good team to put together a winning road record. So look at the West. Minnesota on the road, 10-7. OKC's 9-4. The Nuggets are 10-8. The Clippers are 6-8. But you throw out some of that with them because they're so much better lately.
Yeah.
The Kings are 8-7. New Orleans 8-7 on the road. Dallas is 11-8 on the road. Phoenix is 8-6 on the road. The top 8 teams other than Clippers, they'll have winning records on the road. So these are all legitimate clubs.
That is scary, and they got star power in some of these clubs, and so that's why I think it's important, man. We can't. I know it's a long season but you got to be locked in and night out. And to your point, that's why it's important to take care. And Matt Barnes said it the other day on the pregame show: beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Right. Tonight is one of those games. Because you're going to lose maybe to a Toronto or to a Pelicans or somebody. Like, it's tough out there.
Yeah.
And so you got to handle your business. And tonight, you got to do that.
One of the most surprising things I ever saw in sports is going back to 2012. The Oakland A's were not expected to do much, but they actually won the division that year. And one of the reasons they won the division is because whenever they played the Astros, who were horrible then, they were tanking. They were on their way to becoming a really good team, but the A's beat the bejeebies out of them. They beat them like every time except once or twice. Yeah. So they took advantage of that, and you end up, they won the division largely on the strength of what they did against the really bad teams. So here you go. Tonight, you got this tight battle in the West. To your point, you have to take advantage of this. There's no reason to think they won't, but what are some of Kyle's keys to the win tonight against this shorthanded Charlotte team?
I think I need to, first of all, see a defensive presence early on.
Yes.
Because, like we saw last week in Portland, and we've seen, you give teams confidence, you give players confidence, the basket becomes bigger. We saw it against Portland. Terry Rozier is going to play tonight. I'm telling you, he's a guy that can go off for 30 to 40. You got Bridges, who can have a big game. We talked about PJ, who had 28 last time he was in this building. And so I would like to see, if I'm a fan watching this game, if I'm a fan listening to this game, I'm ignoring the three-point shooting. I don't care if we come out hot from 3. It doesn't matter to me. It matters on the other end. What do we do defensively? You look at our last 6 quarters, especially both halves of their last 2 games, they've done a phenomenal job. This is a bad offensive team, so lock them down.
Do you think that we may have talked about this last week? Shooting an offense can appear to be almost something that you can catch from contagious. Yeah, the word I'm looking for. Pardon me. Can defense be that way when you have a couple guys making stops, diving on the floor? Can defense also seem to be contagious, where one guy starts playing really good defense and then the whole team gets into the spirit of it?
I think so, but I'll keep it real. I haven't seen that from this Sacramento Kings team. I haven't seen one guy get after it and then the other guy clapping and, into it also, and they pick up, as well. And so I think it can, but I think you have to have those kind of players also. And I don't know if we have that. I haven't seen that. Like, to me, some of the defense Chris Duarte plays out there, that should be contagious. Davion, that I just don't see it with this group of Sacramento Kings players.
Look at this talented 10. Henry about to video bomb in a second. There he is.
I know. He act like he don't want to come up and be a part of this. Come on, Debo.
I was wondering if we're going to hear from him. There he is.
I fly right back there all quiet like he in the library or something. It's okay, big fella. We used to you jumping on them.
Happy New Year. How are you?
Hey, same to both of you guys, man. I'm just not going to Debo y'all show, man.
What's wrong? You got called in the principal's office? Somebody talked to you about
that? Never stopped you before.
I know, right?
Hey, I'm just trying to be a little bit better than I was in 23, y'all.
Oh, but you got it.
That's the resolution.
You got a new sweatsuit for Christmas, didn't you?
I keep sweatsuits.
Okay.
The high flyer, Henry Turner, get ready for game night. Can I ask you, Henry, what you think of a potential trade piece for the Kings that someone mentioned here on the chat? May I? Someone wonders about Andrew Wiggins. What do you think of Andrew Wiggins? He could be a lot of what we're missing right now.
What you got, big fella?
When I look at our basketball team, it's not like years prior to where we was looking for any good player that we can get. It's not that type of situation. I mean, it's much more methodical than that, because they're going to have to find somebody that's going to come in here that don't mind being a third or fourth option. They've got to find somebody that comes in here that can play our style. They're going to have somebody that's going to come in here and be able to, do some of the dirty work that we need done. You just can't say, okay, plug and play the best player.
Right.
We don't need to get a guy that comes in and say, you know what? I was a first option on the team I left. I want to be a first option on this team. No, that's going to upset the carriage. I mean, you can't do it that way. So it's going to take a lot more than just saying, give me a good player.
High flyer, and we had Sam Amick on, and this is something me and Whitey have been talking about. I don't know what the Kings' needs are. Like, what do they need, in your opinion?
Consistency.
Little defense wouldn't hurt, right?
You know what? Really, our defense is what it is, man. You know what? Our offense wins games. I'm just going to call it exactly the way it is, exactly the way they've been winning games. Our defense ain't been winning games for us. Whenever this team comes out and they shoot the ball the way that they can shoot the ball, we win the games. Our three-point shot makes everything great. But at the end of the day, think about this right now. And I'm saying consistently. If we can consistently get 16 out of HB, and we can consistently get 16 to 18 out of Kevin Huerter, we wouldn't even be talking about what do we need? Where's the holes? If those guys could just play consistent, they're good enough players. If they can just be consistent with what they give us, we're talking a whole different type of scenario.
But how likely is that based on the fact that all
exactly. You just asked me what we needed. I told you what we needed.
But as far as it's interesting. So at this point, because Sam Amick was just on, and he said what he's hearing is the Kings have decided, the front office, our defense, we're not as worried about that. So at this point, thoughts of doing something to improve the defense maybe just aren't worth the trouble, given what's available.
Well, I look at it this way too. When we lost that game against Portland.
Yeah.
Okay. Your number one, your number two option was there. Gave you everything that they were supposed to give you. It was the other complementary players that didn't show up. So, when you start talking about, okay, what do we need? We need more consistency out of you guys. And I was talking about on the offensive side, not the defense.
Right.
I'm not even talking about defense for this team. Because think about it, KD. When this team comes out and they shoot 50% from two and they shoot in the high 40s from three, everything's good. They win. So I'm not even talking about, okay, they got to be able to lock down. That lockdown defense is going to come when the playoffs hit. That's where they're going to need it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You're going to need lockdown defense when the playoffs hit, because when playoff time comes, it ain't all about how hard your team plays. You can have a team that plays hard that will get to the playoffs. I'm sorry, but when you get to the playoffs, talent makes you win games.
That's kind of what Brian Scalabrine told us, too.
Yeah.
High flyer just getting warmed up. Stick around for game night. Kyle Draper, have a great call tonight. You're on with Matt Barnes tonight.
Matt Barnes, pre and post. Yep.
Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We're back with you tomorrow, and stick around for game night with the high flyer, Scott Marsh from the Golden One Center. Kings and the Hornets coming up right here on Sactown Sports.
I be quiet, but when he leave, I be talking again.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division type